Squad leader, stand up. Yes, squad leader, you can't admit defeat like that. Stand up, squad leader. With Chen Shanmin's words, Shu Tianlong and the others suddenly spoke to the person lying on the ground. Although none of them yet know who is who between them. But they participated in the assessment together and endured such a cruel test together, and everyone in the column did not want to see anyone back down now. Did I let you speak? Shut up. Chen Shanmin frowned and drank coldly. After snorting coldly, he followed him and looked at the rookie on the ground again. Rookie, I'll give you another chance, one last chance, can you do it or not? Chen Shanmin said sharply. The rookie opened his mouth, then gritted his teeth and said loudly, I can't do it anymore. The rookie gives up and takes it away. Chen Shanmin frowned and stood up, signaling the special forces next to him to make a move, and suddenly, a special forces stepped forward and dragged this person away. I can't stand it, I can't stand it. When the rookie was dragged away, he kept shouting, his voice was unwilling, and at the same time, he obviously collapsed. With this rookie in such a situation, Wang Yunbing and the others' faces suddenly became very unsightly. This situation made them very touched. Obviously, the Sword Mountain and the Sea of Fire have survived, but they gave up here. Han Fei, on the other hand, didn't feel anything. This person still chose to give up in the case of successive agitation, which shows that the psychological quality is not good. Such a soldier, there is no problem to be an ordinary soldier, but if you let him be a special, forget it. Being a special soldier actually harmed him. Like this, going out on a mission is basically certain death. Fear is no big deal, but you can't be scared, you have no backbone, no fighting spirit. When the eyes of the surrounding people were complicated, Chen Shanmin shook his head, then stood up, and then said to Han Fei and the others, do you see it? Either get out of here with him, or give me a good military posture. As he said this, Wang Yunbing and the others' bodies were shocked, and they all hurriedly tried to stand in a military posture. But suddenly I changed my mind again. Chen Shanmin's words changed sharply. Meow Wolf. Chen Shanmin said in a deep voice. 2. Meow Wolf replied. Take the others except Han Fei back to the dormitory, Chen Shanmin said. Yes. Meow Wolf said. Han Fei is out of the ranks. Meow Wolf to Han Ko, with him like this. Han Fei did not have the slightest words. Everyone else has it, go to the right, walk in unison. Followed the command, Wang Yunbing and others. Report. Suddenly, Shu Tianlong's voice sounded. Say. Meow Wolf spoke. Can I stay with us? Shu Tianlong said. Do you want to stay together? Chen Shanmin on the side looked at Shu Tianlong in surprise. Yes. Shu Tianlong replied loudly. I asked Han Fei to stay, so that he could continue to stand in a military posture for 2 hours. Are you sure you want to stay? Chen Shanmin's eyes narrowed. Yes, Chief. Shu Tianlong said. Very good, since you insist, then you can stay, but if you can't hold on, there is only one result, elimination. Chen Shanmin said. Speaking of this, he changed his words. I can give you another chance, do you want to stay? Report Chief, I'm going to stay, Shu Tianlong said without hesitation. Very good, get in the queue and stand with Han Fei, Chen Shanmin said. It's the chief. Shu Tianlong replied loudly, and then stood beside Han Fei. As he did this, Han Fei glanced at Shu Tianlong, and a smile appeared in his eyes. Originally, Han Fei thought that Shu Tianlong was good, so he befriended him for a while, but in fact, he didn't have the intention of completely taking Shu Tianlong away from the Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade of the Army, but at this moment, he suddenly had such thoughts. Since Shu Tianlong dared to stand up in such a situation, then he was ready to give Shu Tianlong a chance. At this moment, Fan Tinlei, Chen Shanmin and the others didn't know what Han Fei was thinking. If they knew that Han Fei was actually preparing to poach people, I don't know if they would cry. I think that in the past, they were the only ones in their Special Operations Brigade who went to dig people in other places, and no one could poach people from their hands. Report. Shu Tianlong had just stood with Han Fei when suddenly, another report sounded. With the sound of the report, Chen Shanmin, Han Fei and Shu Tianlong all subconsciously looked towards the place where the report sounded. Li Erniu, what are you going to do? Chen Shanmin looked at Li Erniu who shouted the report suspiciously. Can I stay too? Li Erniu said with a smile. Do you want to stay? Chen Shanmin looked at Li Erniu in surprise, and then smiled. What kind of day is this today? with a Shu Tianlong who is willing to stay and endure hardships. There is even another Li Erniu for you. Erniu. Wang Yunbing, who was beside Li Erniu, tugged at Li Erniu's clothes and whispered to Li Erniu. Wang Yunbing was a little stunned. I'm really a little confused. Although he really wanted to compete with Han Fei, but now in this situation, Han Fei made it clear that he was here to play on the field, and it was clear that he would receive special training. In the past, Erniu was also stupid. However, in fact, he is quite smart in his bones. How could this be stupid again? Are you sure you want to stay? What I just said is not a bluff. Once you stay and can't hold on for 2 hours, it will definitely be eliminated. Looking at your current situation, your physical fitness is far inferior to Shu Tianlong and Han Fei. If you stay, there is a 90% chance of elimination. Chen Shanmin glanced at Li Ernia's body, which was so obviously dying, and said loudly. I chose to stay. Li Erniu opened his mouth and then said loudly. Tell me why you stayed, said Chen Shanmin. I admire Han Fei very much, and I want to train with him, Li Erniu said. Do you admire me? Han Fei said to Li Erniu with a smile. Li Ernia's reason made him curious. Yes. Li Erniu said. I have received your wishes, go back, Han Fei said with a smile. He has always been a person who eats soft rather than hard, and if others treat him well, then he will not treat people coldly. This Li Erniu is honest, and he is a rare talent. No, I won't go back, don't worry, I can hold on. At the beginning, when I was in the Iron Fist Regiment, I couldn't do anything at first, but I finally persevered, and Yan Bing can testify. Li Erniu shook his head and looked at Wang Yunbing on the side as he spoke. Report, I'm also going to apply to stay. Wang Yunbing did not testify to Li Erniu, but suddenly said loudly to Chen Shanmin. He would have completely understood that it was impossible for Li Erniu to change his mind, since even Erniu dared to do this. How could he, a person who wanted to challenge Han Fei and refused to admit defeat to Han Fei, be willing to be so soft? Report, I also asked to stay. As soon as Wang Yunbing's words fell, another report sounded, and this time the person who spoke was the tall lieutenant who was defeated by Han Fei with one move. Yo, it's really lively today. It's the first time I've seen someone ask for more training so proactively. Chen Shanmin laughed, and with the laughter, he looked at the other rookies. Is there anyone who wants to stay together to stand in a military posture? If there is, just stand up together, save you from reporting one after another. With his words, I saw the rookies who were watching him, and their faces changed with each other. However, in the end, they were all silent, and they did not choose to stand up. They were all at the limit of their physical strength, and it would be too difficult to stay and survive 2 hours of military stance. It's really hard. Many of them have been preparing for entering the Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade for several years, and it would be a pity if they came out of nowhere. Let me ask you again, is there any of you who wants to continue to stand in a military posture? If there is, stand up immediately. If not, then don't give me a sudden jump, Chen Shanmin said loudly. The rookies remained silent. It seems that there is no more. Li Erniu, Wang Yunbing, and Shu Kai are out of the ranks. Chen Shanmin called Wang Yunbing out of the ranks, and then said to Meow Wolf. Meow Wolf, you continue to take the others back. Yes. Meow Wolf replied loudly, and then said to the rookies, now listen to my command, step by step, 1. With Meow Wolf's command, the rookies raised their feet one after another, but when they raised their feet, Meow Wolf waited for a while, and when they were about to fall, they continued to shout. 2. Pit. Ah, this is. The rookies who thought they could easily go back to the dormitory to rest looked very unsightly at this time, and each other's moods became heavy. And when other rookies were in the same situation, Wang Yunbing, the tall Lieutenant Shu Kai, and Li Erniu also changed their faces. They don't know whether to rejoice or regret this meeting. Because whether it is standing in a military posture or taking a step by step now, it is absolutely very tortuous. You know, their feet are all injured doing the right thing in such a situation? Moreover, one step at a time. If you don't have any support in your body, you will fall, and when you lift one foot, it will definitely not be pleasant. Li Erniu, Shu Kai, Wang Yunbing are in the ranks. Chen Shanmin's voice sounded again. Yes. Shu Kai and the three of them answered loudly, and then they all stood on the left and right sides of Han Fei and Shu Tianlong. For such a situation, Han Fei felt a little strange. I didn't expect Wang Yunbing and Shu Kai to do this because they wanted to get back on the field. I have to say that these two are very interesting. However, Han Fei just thought about it, and then stopped paying attention to these things, but stood up with his eyes and nose and heart. To be honest, his physical strength has not even been consumed by 30% now. Not to mention the 2-hour military posture, a little more, he is not afraid of anything at all. In such a situation, time passes little by little. Han Fei didn't have any problems, but the situation of Xu Tianlong and the others was not good. Although Xu Tianlong has a foundation in national arts, he has not broken through to Ming Jin, and his physical strength is higher than that of Wang Yunbing and others, but it is still difficult to hold on for another 2 hours. With them like this. Although the other rookies were also troubled, for most of the hour, those rookies still went back to the dormitory, and then only Han Fei and the others were left standing on the training ground. What's going on? Fan Tinlei suddenly appeared on the training ground again, and then walked to Chen Shanman and Miao Wolf, who were sitting next to the military vehicle, playing with a tablet, and asked. When Fan Tinlei walked to them, Fan Tinlei was also holding a tablet in his hand. Li Erniu and the others offered to stand in a military posture with Han Fei. Chen Shanman replied. It's kind of interesting. Fan Tinlei said with a smile, these soldiers are very good, especially that Xu Tianlong. Xu Tianlong is a martial arts family, although the fighting level is not as good as Han Fei, but it is not bad. As for Li Erniu, this kid is a little stupid, but he grows very fast, and Wang Yunbing. His marksmanship is not much worse than the marksmanship of some soldiers in my Special Operations Brigade, and his only difference is experience. If they are trained well, they are definitely good soldiers. Yes, I think so too. I was surprised to have the courage to stand up when I was physically exhausted, and to be honest, Chen Shanman said. Let's take a good look. If they can't do it, let the medic treat it as soon as possible. As for Han Fei, this kid's physical fitness is really amazing. It's been more than half an hour, but judging from his appearance, there is still nothing wrong with him. Fan Tinlei's eyes flashed. Let's all sum it up and see if there is any way to subdue Han Fei. We must not let him slip away from us, and in addition, we must not let him really pick the field of our Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade. Once such a thing is succeeded by him, then the matter will spread to other military regions, and our Wolf's Tooth Special Operations Brigade will become a laughing stock. Fan Tinlei said in a deep voice. In terms of physical fitness, I don't think we can suppress him, although we can train him with high intensity, but after all, we still have to have a bottom line, and we can improve the assessment of other soldiers as a benchmark. Chen Shanman said, saying that he suddenly thought of an idea. Otherwise, suppress him in marksmanship. His physical fitness is so demonic. Presumably his attainments in marksmanship should not be too high. Even if he can shoot the head with a gun, he will definitely not be too godly. We can make it difficult for him in this. Marksmanship? Fan Tinlei's eyes moved, and then said, okay, just suppress him from marksmanship. We will have a marksmanship class in the first class tomorrow, and this time we must suppress him. Besides, I'll have a surprise attack at night, and I'll give me a good deal of this kid. Understood. Chen Shanman and Miao Wolf smiled and nodded at the same time. 2 hours, not long, not short. For Han Fei, he didn't feel anything about the 2-hour military posture. But, when the 2-hour military posture ended, Li Erniu, Wang Yunbing, Xu Kai, and Xu Tianlong all collapsed. The moment Chen Shanman announced the end, they collapsed to the ground. They really don't have any strength at all. For 2 hours, they couldn't understand how they had managed to make it. Subconsciously, they all glanced at Han Fei. If you want to talk about the reason why they can persevere, then it should only be Han Fei. Now go back to the dorm. Chen Shanman treated Han Fei and the others, and did not continue to rectify Han Fei. With Chen Shanman's words, Han Fei walked to Xu Tianlong's side, carried it on his body with one hand, and then dragged Li Erniu in his hand, and walked towards the dormitory. Nima. It's a demon. Chen Shanman, Coyote and the others were all frightened by Han Fei's situation. After 2 hours of high-intensity military posture, they can still be so good, which really makes them speechless. In terms of physical fitness, they didn't know how many times this Han Fei surpassed them. Previously, Han Fei shot at us. I'm afraid he was merciful to his subordinates, Chen Shanman said subconsciously. Of course, otherwise you would think that we would just be beaten, and with his ability, it would not be a problem to fight and kill us in seconds. Fan Tinlei said loudly, so be careful with me next. Although we have to subdue Han Fei, since our physical fitness is so much worse than him, then don't use our shortcomings to deal with him. Don't let him catch a loophole and fight him in close combat. What you get like that will only be beaten and crushed. Don't worry, Chief of Staff, we all understand that with such a demonic physical ability, who would dare to fight him in close quarters again? When it comes to you, don't be too impulsive. After all, you knew that his fighting ability was very good, but today he took the initiative to rush forward, which is very undeserved. Chen Shanman touched his swollen face with his hand and smiled bitterly. I didn't hold back at the time. Don't worry, I won't either, Fan Tinlei said embarrassedly. Meow Wolf. Let Shu Kai and Wang Yunbing also send back to the dormitory. After Fan Tinlei was embarrassed for a moment, he followed up and said to Meow Wolf. Yes, Chief of Staff. Meow Wolf answered, and then called 2 special forces to carry Han Fei and Shu Kai back to the dormitory respectively. When Han Fei returned to the dormitory, the rest of the dormitory was frightened by Han Fei's toughness. Seeing Han Fei carrying 2 people in at once, they all looked at Han Fei with ghostly eyes. It's scary. What kind of physical strength is this? Han Fei ignored the other people around him, but instead got Li Erniu and Shu Tianlong into 2 empty beds each, and then massaged them with his hands to relieve their physical fatigue. Thank you, Master. Thank you, Han Fei. Li Erniu and Shu Tianlong respectively against Han Fei. Don't thank me. Go to bed early. The killing stick is not over yet. Be smart, don't sleep too hard, Han Fei said. As he spoke, he found an empty bed and lay down. While he was lying on the empty bed, Wang Yunbing and Shu Kai had also been brought to the bedroom by Han Fei. But they don't have anyone to give them a massage to relieve fatigue or anything. I can only slump on the bed and recover my strength on my own. In such a situation, about an hour and a half passed. The sound of an emergency assembly sounded suddenly, and as these voices sounded, Han Fei started from the bed as soon as possible, then put on his military uniform, put on his backpack, and walked out of the dormitory with a gun. Although Shu Tianlong's physical strength has not fully recovered, it is much better than others. With Han Fei's understanding of the human body, the massage he gave to Shu Tianlong was not a nonsense thing. That definitely works. After quickly walking out of the dormitory, Han Fei came to the training playground again, and when he came here, Chen Shanman and many special forces were already waiting for Han Fei here. Seeing this, Han Fei stood quietly on the playground, and then quickly gathered with Shu Tianlong and the others. With their gathering, I saw that many special forces brought several boxes of grenades and put them on top of the oil drum in front of Chen Shanman. Do you know them all? Chen Shanman took out a grenade from the arsenal box, and then approached Han Fei and the others, holding the grenade in his hand, and said to Han Fei and them. Acquaintance. Wang Yunbing and the others nodded one after another. Then tell me what it is, said Chen Shanman. Type 86 all-plastic grenade, the rookies spoke. That's right. Type 86 all-plastic grenade, finalized and mass-produced in 1986, is a dual-purpose grenade for offense and defense, with a killing radius of about 6 meters and a fuse time of 2.8 seconds to 4 seconds. Chen Shanman smiled and said to Han Fei and the others. What do you mean? I don't understand. Some rookies muttered in a low voice, completely unaware of what Chen Shanman was trying to do. But in the next second, they understood, only to see Chen Shanman walk back to the position of the munition box, and then took out a grenade from it again, and then put one in each hand, put it to his mouth, and bit off the pull ring at once. Wow! As soon as Chen Shanman did this, he scared the rookies. Immediately after the rookies were frightened, Chen Shanman waved his hands and threw the bomb at Han Fei and the others at the same time. Ah! The rookies screamed, almost scared to pee. Huh! And when these people were about to be scared to pee, Han Fei's body moved, his body suddenly rose into the air, and then with a whirlwind leg sweep, he actually swept 2 grenades out to the side at the same time. Boom! As the grenade was swept away, the bomb exploded suddenly, and at the same time as the explosion, Wang Yunbing and the others quickly fell down, and Han Fei was still standing firmly in place. Ah! Li Erniu yelled, of course, not only him, but everyone else was the same. I'm almost stupefied. Is this to kill? It's good, Han Fei, how about it? This is exciting. Chen Shanman said to Han Fei with a smile. It's okay. Han Fei said. Really? Chen Shanman smiled, and then motioned for the 3 special forces next to him to come to his side, and let them escape from the munitions box with him 2 bombs again, and then bite off the pull ring at the same time and threw them at Han Fei. When the bomb was thrown, The smile on Chen Shanmin's face was very bright. This should be exciting enough, Chen Shanmin said to Han Fei with a smile. He and the 3 special forces around him, 1 person and 2 grenades, added up to 8 grenades, and 8 grenades were thrown towards Han Fei and the others at the same time. That scene was really scary. Ah! Ah! Wang Yunbing and the others shouted one after another, looking at the grenades rushing up in front of them in great horror, as if they were facing a great enemy, and they were all ready to shoot the grenades away. But they don't need to do it at all. I saw Han Fei's figure rise into the air, and with a copy of his 2 hands, he grabbed the 2 grenades in his hands, and at the same time, with a twist of his body, a whirlwind leg swept out, and the 2 grenades in his hand, as well as the other 3 grenades, flew out at the same time. His body was in the air, and when he was unable to borrow, he once again sent the other 3 grenades flying out. Papa! A series of slapping sounds sounded. I saw that the person who slapped was Chen Shanmin. Good skills, really good skills, amazing. You really opened my eyes to sweeping 8 grenades by 1 person, but if you come a little more, can you catch it? Chen Shanmin clapped his hands and spoke, and as he did so, he suddenly saw 5 special forces coming up from behind him again. With the addition of the original 4, it is 9 people. Mudhorse. Foolish, all you, ah. Wang Yunbing and the others all looked at this scene dumbfounded, and subconsciously wanted to leave the venue one by one, but they were soldiers and had to obey orders, so even if they wanted to run, they didn't dare to run rashly at this time. Therefore, he could only look at Chen Shanmin and the others in horror. Grunting and swallowing. Up! Chen Shanmin suddenly ordered, and as he did so, the special forces picked up 2 grenades with Chen Shanmin, and then pulled out the pull ring. Han Fei's face was not afraid, but looked at the scene in front of him very calmly. Throw! Immediately afterwards, I saw Chen Shanmin and the special forces around him, throwing the bombs in their hands at Han Fei and the others. This time the bombs they dropped were very scattered. 18 grenades were thrown, and they were still scattered and recognized, and the scattered locations were relatively wide. When such bombs were thrown, Chen Shanmin and the others did not think that Han Fei would be able to catch them. But the results showed that Chen Shanmin was thinking too much. With the attack of 18 grenades, Han Fei showed Chen Shanmin and the others a scene called the ghost body method. I saw that Han Fei's figure was non-stop, and every time he moved, a bomb would inevitably be blown away. 18 grenades, before they landed, were all sent flying out by Han Fei. Throw it, give it to me continuously, Han Fei, I want to see how powerful you are. Chen Shanmin said loudly, picked up the grenade again, pulled out the pull ring, and threw it towards Han Fei again. When he was like this, other special forces did the same, and this time, they didn't wait for the bomb to be completely caught by Han Fei, so they picked up the grenade again and threw it quickly towards Han Fei again. It's going to die, it's really going to kill people. Ah! Is this really a special forces selection? Kill people, this is it, it's too bad. Large-scale grenades rushed up overwhelmingly, and Wang Yunbing and the others were really scared, and their legs trembled subconsciously. Humph! Han Fei let out a cold sound, and then walked towards the bomb again without changing his face, and kept sending the bomb flying. Suddenly, when another bomb was missed, Han Fei's face sank. Wrong! It was obvious to him that the grenade he had fired this time was wrong. At the beginning, he could clearly find that those grenades were all coach bullets, and there was no shrapnel at all, just bluffing, but not hurting people. But the bomb he shot out this time was a real bomb. These guys have real bombs hidden in fake bombs. What are they going to do? Han Fei's brows furrowed, and the thoughts in his heart were spinning rapidly. Although when he was a mercenary, it was normal for him to train with real bombs, but in the situation he knew, he was afraid that there were really few people in the army who had the courage to use real bombs to train people, and at most he would use some firearms for training. Although the thoughts in his heart were spinning rapidly, Han Fei's movements were not slow, and he shot one after another, whether it was a fake grenade or a real grenade. A barrage of bombs flew over. Although Han Fei could feel the authenticity of the bombs from their weight when they flew the bombs, when the bombs flew over, when there was no contact, he didn't care who was real or fake, so he could only quickly send them all flying. Ding! The system side quest is released. Please find the spy who is hiding in the surrounding special forces and use the real bomb, and kill or capture it. Quest completion rewards you with a personal competitive training session. The mechanical voice of the system suddenly came into Han Fei's mind. What do you say, spy? Han Fei was startled, and subconsciously asked in shock at the system. "Yes, host." The system replied. "Damn, what the hell is this Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade doing? When we captured the satellite 3 years ago, there were 5 spies. After 3 years, a recruit training was carried out, and spies could still be mixed in." A terrifying killing intent burst out of Han Fei's eyes, and in the moment the killing intent burst out, he swept his gaze towards Chen Shanmen and the others. At the same time, his right hand was subconsciously clenched, and he was in a posture that could hurt people at any time. With Han Fei's eyes, almost every special soldier who was within his sight changed his complexion in an instant, and they all subconsciously retreated, including Chen Shanmen. "Han Fei, what are you going to do here?" As he stepped back, Chen Shanmen asked Han Fei vigilantly. This Han Fei can't be annoyed and angry, right? Thinking of this, Chen Shanmen's face sank. "Didn't do anything," Han Fei said indifferently. "Then what are you doing with such a murderous aura?" Chen Shanmen was speechless. "If you were bombarded with so many grenades, would you have a murderous aura?" Han Fei said noncommittally, and when the words fell, the command system turned on the radar map scanning. Accompanied by the radar map scan, Han Fei accurately found the red target. 2. According to the radar map scan, there were actually 2 red targets. Damn it. Han Fei couldn't help but curse again in his heart. He was really disappointed in this Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade. While cursing, Han Fei also quickly turned his thoughts, thinking about how to capture the 2 spies, or kill them directly. After all, although he knew that these 2 people were spies, Chen Shanmen and the others did not know. Shoot rashly, unless he shows the order of 7 kills. But once the 7 kills order is revealed, this assessment will be considered a waste. Han Fei didn't want to lose his chance to obtain the universal longevity pill because of such a thing. "Didn't you say it's not exciting? Throw, keep throwing." "Me," Chen Shanmen said, and once again ordered the people around him to throw up the grenade. Almost as soon as his words fell, the overwhelming grenades were thrown at Han Fei again. Because of the system prompt, when the bomb came up, Han Fei used his afterglow to see the situation of the 2 special forces. Completely locked onto the grenade they tossed, the humanoid figure rose into the air, and Han Fei once again knocked several grenades into the air, and among these grenades that were knocked away, there were obviously grenades thrown by 2 of the special forces. However, after Han Fei flew the grenade, his brows furrowed again. Because he discovers that among the grenades he has fired, the one belonging to the spy is fake, while the other grenades are real. Yes, the 2 spies just mixed the shrapnel grenade with the non-shrapnel grenade and didn't mark the real bomb. Han Fei's eyes flashed, and then he understood why something was wrong, and then, his leg technique was used one after another, kicking the bombs one after another. In the blink of an eye, the playground directly turned into Han Fei's solo show. With Han Fei like this, Chen Shanmen's brows furrowed. "I have the intention to continue to increase my efforts, but this practice doesn't seem to have any effect on Han Fei, and continuing to throw it won't have any effect at all." "Stop," Chen Shanmen said. As he did this, the soldiers around him stopped instantly. And almost when they stopped, Han Fei suddenly rushed out, came to the side of one of the spies in the blink of an eye, and slashed his leg in the form of a tomahawk, and in the moment when Chen Shanmen and the others had no time to react, they fell to the ground, and even after they slashed this person to the ground, his body spun into the air, and he rose into the air again, and dodged towards the other spy, knocking him to the ground at once. "He's too fast." It was so fast that no one could react, and by the time they did, both spies had fallen to the ground. And as things became like this, Wang Yunbing and the others looked at Han Fei in confusion. Although Han Fei beat these veterans of the Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade throwing grenades like this, it made them feel relieved, but at the same time as they were relieved, they also subconsciously frowned. This is an assessment. Even if Han Fei has a special status, he should not do so. "Han Fei, what the hell are you going to do here? Damn it, fence me up," Chen Shanmen said loudly. As he spoke, he suddenly gave an order to the special forces around him, and as he gave the order, in an instant, dozens of special forces rushed up and surrounded Han Fei. Report. Han Fei was surrounded by so many people. Han Fei didn't feel the slightest nervousness, but spoke indifferently. "Say." Seeing Han Fei like this, Chen Shanmen did not let the special forces immediately make a move on Han Fei, but said in a deep voice. If he could, he didn't want to rush into hand-to-hand combat with Han Fei. "Chief, the grenades you just used were trainer bullets without shrapnel," Han Fei said. "You know?" Chen Shanmin was stunned, and then said with an ugly face, "Since you know that it is a coach bullet, then you still shoot like this, what are you going to do?" "Han Fei, didn't you say that you would follow the rules? That's how you follow the rules. At every turn, you want to use your identity to use privileges? Are you still a gentleman like this? Talking, is it so unreliable?" Chen Shanmin said this, he was very excited. "Report, I didn't mean that," Han Fei said indifferently, and changed his words as he spoke. "Chief, I suggest you go and take a look at the bombs I just kicked to see if they have any shrapnel." "What do you mean?" Chen Shanmin's pupils shrank suddenly. "You can check it, and besides, I suggest that the chief take a good look at your two subordinates," Han Fei said indifferently. "Go. Check the situation." Seeing this, Chen Shanmin immediately commanded the people around him to rush towards the place where Han Fei kicked the bomb, and at the same time, he also subconsciously looked at the two people on the ground. And almost as soon as the special forces rushed up to check the shrapnel, they saw that the faces of the two spies who were knocked to the ground by Han Fei changed drastically. Then one of them jerked out a bomb from his body and pulled the ring open in an instant. "Damn it! Get out of the way!" This person's situation was completely seen by Chen Shanmin, and his complexion immediately changed greatly. And almost when his complexion changed drastically, Han Fei suddenly rushed to the side of the spy who had pulled the ring and was holding a grenade, and at the same time he appeared, he stomped on his throat with one kick, killing him with one kick, and at the same time killing this person. He snatched the grenade from his hand with a lightning copy of his right hand, and then threw it hard. Boom! Before the bomb could land in the distance, it exploded at a high altitude. Seeing this, the other spy immediately took out his gun and was about to shoot at Han Fei, but would Han Fei give him a chance? Of course it was impossible. When the other party fired, his body moved, disappeared from the other party's field of vision, and then suddenly appeared next to the spy and knocked him unconscious. The reason why he knocked this one out was naturally to leave a live mouth for interrogation. Report, quite a few shrapnel were found, and as Han Fei did such things, soon the special forces who were rushing towards the shrapnel also discovered the shrapnel and spoke loudly. "What? Damn it, take him away." After Chen Shanmin heard the report of the special forces who went to check, his face suddenly turned dark, and then with a wave of his right hand, people were taken away by the person who was knocked unconscious by Han Fei. "Han Fei, you can come with me too." After letting the special forces take away, Chen Shanmin followed closely to Han Feiadao. "Report, I'm going to train," Han Fei said. "At this time, what are you still training? Follow me." Chen Shanmin frowned. The grenade was replaced with live ammunition, which is a big deal. Fortunately, Han Fei took all the bombs just now. Once he didn't take the bombs, then there would inevitably be casualties. So many bombs, under normal circumstances, it is simply impossible to catch them all at once. Once it appears in the world, it will inevitably alarm the entire military region. Although they have a certain death standard for special forces training, grenades have not appeared before. Not to mention this time, Chen Shanmin didn't know at all that this coach was just given a bag by someone. There were also two people on the ground. One was killed by Han Fei, and the other was knocked unconscious. These things have to be investigated. Although judging from their situation, there was indeed a problem, but Han Fei rashly killed people. If such a thing was not investigated, it would be impossible at all. "I won't go with you. The main purpose of my coming here is to participate in the assessment, and I will not be absent from every training assessment," Han Fei Zheng said. After speaking, the words changed. "If you really want to take me away, then let everyone take a vacation. In addition, you can also ask me directly here. I am in your base camp, and it is impossible to run anything. It's up to you. You've killed someone, no, it's a big deal." Chen Shanmin said loudly. "Come on, take it away from me." As Chen Shanmin spoke, he commanded the surrounding special forces to grab Han Fei. Seeing this, Han Fei frowned. Although he knew that he would be in trouble once he made a move, this kind of trouble still made him speechless. With a frown on his brows, Han Fei's figure flickered, and he dodged two of the special forces who came to arrest him. "Give it to me." Seeing this, Chen Shanmin said loudly. Han Fei shook his head, then a cold light flashed in his eyes, and he made a move in an instant. Crackling. Bang bang. A series of fist-to-flesh sounds sounded, and under the shocked gaze of Wang Yunbing and others, dozens of special forces who surrounded Han Fei were all sent out by Han Fei. Everyone collapsed on the ground when they were knocked away, completely up in something. Removed their joints. Han Fei removed all the special joints that had been encircled. Han Fei. Chen Shanmin's face was very ugly, and then he pulled out his pistol all of a sudden, and then pointed it at Han Fei. "Stop me." Han Fei shrugged his shoulders and then put away his hand, but although he stopped it, the special forces around him were already lying down. "I advise you to put away your guns. This time I really want to talk about it, but the accident of your Wolf's Tooth Special Operations Brigade. Once I tell the head of the military region about it, what kind of situation do you say?" A dignified Wolf Tooth Special Operations Brigade was actually given a bag and replaced with live ammunition for a trainer's bullet. "Are you all eating dry rice? In addition, if something happens, you don't interrogate the suspects on the ground in the first place, but instead make trouble for me. What are you going to do?" Han Fei said to Chen Shanmin in a cold voice, and when he said this, a cold light flashed in his eyes, and a terrifying ferocious aura was released from him. Chen Shanmin's face changed, and then he put away the gun. "Attach all their joints to me." After Chen Shanmin put away the gun, he said loudly. For such things, Han Fei did not refuse, and easily connected everyone's joints. "All of you stand up for me, look to the right, look forward." As Han Fei connected the joints of those special forces on the ground, Chen Shanmin followed up and ordered Wang Yunbing and the other rookies. "Military posture, 2 hours. Han Fei, you'd better be the same as you said, it's not good to run around." After Chen Shanmin gave the order, he followed in a deep voice to Han Fei, and then asked some soldiers to guard here, and then he and the other 4 special forces quickly left the playground with the dead spy and the knocked-out spy. These things have to be dealt with immediately. When Chen Shanmin left, Wang Yunbing and the others around him all looked at Han Fei with complicated eyes at this time. Killed. Han Fei killed someone right in front of their eyes. And those grenades just now, at the beginning, they turned out to be playing bullets, and they were dropped by someone, so they got some live ammunition in them. "I'll go." They all thought it was live ammunition in the first place. They were all surprised by what Han Fei could see, and how he could distinguish between live ammunition and coach ammunition. Han Fei didn't care in the slightest about Wang Yunbing and the others' surprise, he just stood calmly in place. An incomparably standard military posture. Like a peerless sword, it may be unsheathed and killed at any time. And when Han Fei and the others were standing in a military posture, Chen Shanmin found Fan Tinlei with the spy and the corpse. "What's going on?" Fan Tinlei saw the corpse and the spy who was knocked unconscious. His face changed greatly, and he suddenly stood up from his seat. "Something happened to the chief of staff. Our trainer bomb was mixed with live ammunition, and it almost happened just now," Chen Shanmin said. "So what's going on with them?" Fan Tinlei said with a solemn face. "The person was killed by Han Fei, and he was also knocked unconscious," Chen Shanmin said. "What the hell is going on? Did they put the live ammunition? Tell me everything from beginning to end." Fan Tinlei's pupils shrank and said loudly. "It's not clear if there are not, but they do have a lot of suspicions." Chen Shanmin shook his head, and then told Fan Tinlei the original story. Fan Tinlei listened to what Chen Shanmin said, and immediately asked people to take the spy's body to be placed first, and then Chen Shanmin took the unconscious spy to an interrogation room. As special forces, as Wolf-Tooth Special Forces, they naturally have a powerful set of interrogation methods. After review, Fan Tinlei and others finally fully confirmed the identity of the spy. This guy is a spy. Because he had already exposed his feet, coupled with the fact that he was exerted by Fan Tinlei and others, he admitted his identity. However, although he admitted that he was a spy, he did not say what he was doing or why he did it. Looked at, Fan Tinlei and others were very emotional. It was very complicated. Because every soldier of the Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade is their comrade in arms and their brothers who share life and death. Now there are 2 spies out of the blue. "Yang Bin, why are you doing this?" you say. "Why did you betray your comrades in arms? If you have such difficulties, you can tell us. Why do you want to be a spy?" Fan Tinlei looked at the tied spy loudly and roared. The spy didn't speak, just bit his lip and was silent. "Good, good, you're good. 3 years ago, my Lone Wolf Special Task Force provoked criticism from superiors because of the satellite incident, and only 3 years later, you and Wang Lung have also become spies. Interesting, interesting, really interesting." Seeing this, Fan Tinley roared loudly again, eager to immediately shoot Yang Bin in front of him. But in the end, he forcibly resisted his thoughts, and instead knocked Yang Bin unconscious, and then had Yang Bin escorted to a department dedicated to reviewing such issues overnight. Although their Special Operations Brigade also has interrogation methods, Yang Bin is a soldier of their Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade after all, and some methods are not easy for them to use at all. This is not the case with those departments that specialize in examining such issues. They are perfectly capable of using their means without the slightest fear. Although Fan Tinley didn't want Yang Bin to suffer more, spies were a big problem. You'll have to try to pry his mouth open. 3 years ago, because there was no living mouth, although they later confirmed that the person who was killed was a spy, they were unable to find out the root cause of the problem at that time. And now, Fan Tinley thought that this person might be related to the group of spies 3 years ago. Bang! After sending Yang Bin away, Fan Tinley hit the wall next to him with a fist, and his face was hideous and ugly. Shame, shame, shame. My Wolf's Tooth Special Operations Brigade has such problems one after another, Fan Tinley said through gritted teeth. Chief of Staff, don't be too angry, although things do make people angry, but you can't be angry because of such things. We still have new recruits to train. Speaking of recruits, this Han Fei is powerful enough. How did he detect the real and false grenades? Although the weight of the real and fake grenades is indeed different, but under the high-speed attack, when the body is threatened, it stands to reason that it is impossible to detect such a difference. Even soldiers like you and me, they can't tell at all who is real and who is fake. Fan Tinley withdrew his hand and opened his mouth in confusion. I'm also curious about that. Otherwise, let's go and ask Han Fei carefully. No matter what, this kid has killed someone, and we must interrogate him about the situation, Chen Shanman said. Forget it, don't go, he definitely won't say, Fan Tinley said. Oh, why? Said Chen Shanman. Although I have been in contact with him for a short time, I can clearly see that this kid is a decisive person who will repay him, and what he doesn't want to say, others can't force him. Since he didn't leave with you at that time, it definitely means that he doesn't want to dwell on such things and dwell on anything. If it were an ordinary person, we might be able to use some means to get him to speak. However, he is not an ordinary person, Fan Tinley said. Then Chief of Staff, what are we going to do with Han Fei next? Fan Tinley said. What are you going to stop doing? Not only can't you stop me, but you have to continue to make me even harder. What a pity for such a powerful soldier to give up. We must not let him slip out of our hands. In addition, when my Chief of Staff is slapped in the face, will you think it is very interesting? Fan Tinley glared at Chen Shanman, and then said in a deep voice. Okay, let's not talk about that. You can continue to train Han Fei and them. Fan Tinley followed the conversation closely. Yes, Chief of Staff, Chen Shanman answered, and then left the place. A moment later, Chen Shanman returned to the training ground, and when he returned here, Han Fei and the others were still standing in a military posture. What's the matter? Can you still stand it? Do you want to quit? My Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade is not a good place. You have also seen it. Even the spies have come to our Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade. This training bullet can be replaced with live ammunition. With the situation just now, if you don't pay attention to it, you may die. This is a vain death, you say. If you die like this, will you be very aggrieved? So, if you want to leave, leave immediately. There is no shame in leaving. Besides, my Wolf's Tooth Special Combat Brigade is not as good as you think, Chen Shanman said to Han Fei and the others after returning to the training ground. Of course I'm aggrieved, I'm suffocated, Li Erniu subconsciously spoke. You scare me. I'm a pilot who is not afraid of heaven and earth. Shu Kai pursed his lips and said loudly. Aren't you afraid of heaven and earth? Chen Shanman's eyes narrowed, and then he took a submachine gun from the person next to him, and after the submachine gun was in his hand, he instantly aimed at Shu Kai and then shot. Bang bang. A series of gunshots rang out, and a large number of bullets vented towards Shu Kai's feet, and at the same time, other instructors next to him also shot at Han Fei and the others, and the bullets swept under their feet. Ah! This situation instantly frightened many people stupidly, and they hurriedly flew back, but when they flew back, one person did not retreat. That's Han Fei. Han Fei, aren't you afraid? Chen Shanman frowned and looked at Han Fei. Of course I'm afraid, Han Fei said. Then why don't you retreat? Said Chen Shanman. Because I know very well that while I am afraid, you are also afraid of shooting me, so I will not retreat, and you will not dare to really shoot me. Han Fei said. It's kind of interesting. Chen Shanmin smiled. Yes, you are afraid. We instructors are also afraid. You are afraid of being killed. And we are also afraid of killing you. There's no shame in being afraid, Chen Shanmin said loudly, and after speaking, he looked at Han Fei and said, but, Han Fei, with the situation just now, if we play a little abnormally, you will really be shot. I know very well that I won't get shot, Han Fei said. Okay, confident enough, I like it. Chen Shanmin put away the gun, smiled, and then said to all the rookies, let's go back to sleep for me, today's assessment training is over. Don't worry, this time it's not a lie. Rest assured and sleep boldly, because tomorrow you will have more exciting training waiting for you. Early in the morning, Han Fei and the others were woken up by the sound of an emergency assembly, and then Han Fei and the others quickly put on their equipment, washed up briefly, and rushed out. Just like yesterday, Han Fei was the first to walk out of the dormitory. However, when Han Fei walked out of the dormitory today, his eyes were glowing with a cold light, giving people a feeling that no one should approach. And Xu Tianlong is also the second. Then Wang Yunbing, pilot Xu Kai, and Li Erniu also followed. 10 kilometers of armed off-road. As soon as he arrived at the playground, he saw Chen Shanmin giving orders to Han Fei and the others. Foolish. Again. Wang Yunbing and the others were speechless about this situation, but they all had to run, and when they returned to the playground after the armed cross-country was completed, they almost collapsed. Well, my Special Operations Brigade has a good morning exercise. Fan Tinlei looked at Han Fei and the others with a smile. It's not just good, it's just cool, both of my legs are shaking. Every day like this, you will definitely die. When will this day be ahead? Wang Yunbing and the others each spoke speechlessly. Han Fei, what about you? What do you think? Fan Tinlei looked at Han Fei, who was standing straight on the ground without a little sweat. It's not even a warm-up, Han Fei sneered very unceremoniously. With the espionage incident yesterday night, Han Fei became less and less fond of this wolf-toothed Special Operations Brigade. What the hell? If it weren't for the almighty longevity pill, he would have turned around and left this place. Isn't it a warm-up? Fan Tinlei's face sank. That's right, Han Fei said. Then you go ahead and give me another 10 kilometers, Fan Tinlei said loudly. Yes, but I'm here to take the test, not to receive corporal punishment. I can run another 10 kilometers, but only if any of you can handle the same level of training as I do. Otherwise, even you yourself will not be able to withstand this kind of training, and this is not called assessment, but difficulty. I can take you to court-martial, Han Fei said in a cold voice. Since you have come to our place, you have to accept the rules we have made. Han Fei, have you forgotten what you said yesterday? You said that you will abide by the rules. Fan Tinlei said loudly with an ugly face. To be honest, when he got up this morning, Fan Qing was very good, because he was going to conduct marksmanship training today, and he was going to make Han Fei lose today. He was going to let Han Fei shoot at an ultra-long distance of 1,000 taels. It also allowed Chen Shanmin to adjust the accuracy of the firearm, making its accuracy worse. As long as Han Fei accepts the assessment, he will be suspicious. However, when Han Fei got up this morning, he suddenly played his cards out of common sense. It was so full of anger early in the morning, which made Fan Tinlei's face ugly, and at the same time, he was also very puzzled by it. I said something like that yesterday, but I accept the rules, but it's not the same as a stupid abuse, Han Fei said loudly. What do you mean? Said Fan Tinlei with a frown. It's very simple, remember the definition you gave me. I'm here to smash the field. Since I'm here to smash the field, then smashing the field is not just to assess according to your rules, but to crush you, Han Fei said coldly. You are all veterans, and I'm just a rookie who came to take the assessment. I can go off-road for 20 kilometers in a row, why can't you? Next, as long as any of you surpasses me in any of the training subjects, I will immediately admit defeat. On the contrary, as long as I can crush you, you must let me pass the assessment. When Han Fei said this, he looked at Fan Tinlei with very disdainful eyes, and looked at all the wolf-toothed special forces around him. Is this really going to start smashing the field? Phew, the fire is up. It's lively now, come on, Han Fei. Seeing this, Wang Yunbing and the other rookies looked at Han Fei with wide eyes, and they all had blood in their bodies, and they didn't know much at this moment, but they were all boiling. To be honest, they were trained like this by Fan Tinlei one after another. They all feel aggrieved, however, because they were here to participate in the assessment. Although they were aggrieved, They had no way to resist the rules, but now, Han Fei suddenly stood up and formally challenged Fan Tinley and the others. How this does not excite them. What's the matter, Fan Tinley? Do you dare? And Shen Shanman, coyotes. Don't say that you are all a group of eggless veterans, and you don't even dare to respond to my rookie declaration of war. If this is the case, there is no need for your Wolf's Tooth Special Combat Brigade to exist. I can go to my grandfather today and ask them to revoke the name of your Wolf Tooth Special Operations Brigade and re-establish a new Special Forces unit. Han Fei looked at Fan Tinley and the others coldly. Who is Han Fei's grandfather? Li or Niu subconsciously asked in a low voice to Wang Yunbing beside him. That, I don't know. Wang Yunbing was stunned for a moment, then shook his head. The commander of our southeast military region is Han Fei's grandfather, Shu Tianlong said in a low voice. Wang Yunbing exclaimed subconsciously. When Wang Yunbing and the others were talking in private, Fan Tinley and Chen Shanman, Meow Wolf, and even all the surrounding Wolf Tooth Special Combat Brigade displays at this time all looked at Han Fei with extremely angry eyes, and each other's eyes were filled with murderous intent. There's no way the old chief will let you mess around, Fan Tinley said loudly. Why do you think my grandfather wouldn't do that? Look at you, the commanders of the Lone Wolf Special Commando. They all think they are great, and they look down on the soldiers of other ordinary companies. Yes, your Special Operations Brigade is elite, and you have fought a lot of sticks, but this does not mean that you can completely look down on the soldiers of ordinary companies, nor does it mean that you can fool around. In addition, it is true that the assessment was formulated by you, but if you can't even complete the assessment yourself, why should you eliminate the soldiers who participated in the assessment? Take yesterday's incident as an example. When Fan Tinley and Meow Wolf drove the military car to a speed of more than 70 kilometers per hour, and you made me have to keep up with the military vehicle for 100 meters. I want to ask you, can you run so fast yourself? Can anyone in your Wolf Tooth Special Combat Brigade run so fast? Han Fei asked sharply. Originally, he was ready to turn a blind eye to these things. After all, for him, it's nothing, as long as he can pass the assessment. But the behavior of Fan Tinley and others is becoming more and more disappointing. This Wolf Tooth Special Operations Brigade is also becoming more and more disappointing. Fan Tinley's complexion changed greatly. Although the rules of the Wolf's Tooth Special Operations Brigade, according to normal circumstances, are indeed specified by them, they can do whatever they want. But in fact, the rules are also based on the extent that they can really be accomplished. 70 kilometers per hour. If such a thing really wants to be investigated, it really can't be regarded as a strict assessment, but a difficult one. If Han Fei really wanted to tell the old chief at this time, Fan Tinley really didn't know how to explain it. Okay, I agree to your request, but Han Fei, you also have to remember what you said. At this time, so many people in the column are listening. When the time comes, you are sure not to regret anything for me, Fan Tinley said loudly. Don't worry, I'm not as shameless as you, Han Fei said coldly. You. Fan Tinley glared at Han Fei. Since you want to compete, then you don't have to go for this 10-kilometer cross-country run. Do you see these guns in front of me? Fan Tinley said in a deep voice. At this time, there was a makeshift table in front of him, on which were several firearms. Report. I'm not blind. Han Fei said. Now that you've seen it, you should know what the guns are called. Fan Tinley frowned, and then said in a deep voice. From right to left, the first one is Barrett Heavy Sniper. The second one is the M14. The third one is AWP. The fourth one is 85 Sniper. Han Fei spoke indifferently. You're right, Fan Tinley said, then changed his words and looked at Han Fei with a straight face. Han Fei, to be honest, your fighting ability is very good. Hao does not deny it. In terms of fighting strength, I am afraid that no one in our entire Wolftooth Brigade is indeed your opponent. You are really powerful, twice in a row, with more than a dozen, and you are all special fighters of my Wolf's Tooth Special Operations Brigade. However, your fighting ability is good, but in my Wolf's Tooth Special Brigade is nothing at all, because in our special forces, although hand-to-hand combat ability is very important, our special forces are special forces, and they are troops that perform special tasks, and many times, they have to sneak behind enemy lines to carry out decapitation operations, or decapitation from a distance. So the ability to shoot is very important. Since you want to compare, then compare the gun skills first. There is no flag over there, 1,200 meters away. These 4 guns, no matter which one you use, you are limited to 5 seconds to hit the flag. Fan Tinley said, Pointing to the left 1,200 meters away, in that place, there was a small yellow flag planted on the ground. Hearing Fan Tinlei's words, Han Fei immediately stepped forward and took the AWP off the stage at once. Then he didn't lie down anywhere, and took the gun and aimed at the flag in front of him. When he did this, Fan Tinlei smiled. Not only Fan Tinlei smiled, but Chen Shanmin also smiled. Because Han Fei is so tender, originally, he had seen Han Fei's certain level of marksmanship, and felt that even if Han Fei was not high, it should not be too bad. After all, he could shoot his head quickly and closely. However, from Han Fei's actions at this time, Han Fei can only be regarded as a rookie. The recoil of the AWP is definitely not bad, standing on the ground and firing at will. The requirements for power are very high. As long as there is a little shaking, the accuracy will be problematic. Under such circumstances, if you want to knock down a flag 1,200 meters away, let alone standing, even if you are lying on your stomach, it is very difficult to knock it down, and few people can easily do it. Not to mention, these 4 guns were actually manipulated by Chen Shanmin. There are problems with the accuracy of each gun. 5 seconds. Han Fei didn't even check, he just raised his gun to shoot. Isn't that a clear sign of failure? It's a shame that Han Fei was so domineering just now, and he got a bully. This kid embroidered a pillow in spearmanship. Young people are just not stable enough. Do you think I will fail to shoot? Just as Fan Tinlei and Chen Shanmin and the others were laughing, Han Fei suddenly turned his head to look at Fan Tinlei. Huh? Han Fei's words made Fan Tinlei's complexion change subconsciously. Bang! And almost in the moment when Fan Tinlei's complexion changed, Han Fei suddenly looked at the scope again, and then straddled the shot. The sound of the bullet out of the chamber suddenly sounded, and then, I saw that the flag 1,200 meters away was suddenly knocked out. This. Fan Tinlei's eyes widened, and he immediately took out his binoculars to look at it carefully, while at the same time, Wang Yunbing and others around him also watched this scene with wide eyes. Standing and using a sniper rifle to snipe at a target 1,200 meters away so quickly, Wang Yunbing and the others in the column did not think that they could do it. I've taken out the target, now it's your turn. After Han Fei hit the flag, he followed and said to Fan Tinlei, and threw the AWP in his hand directly to Fan Tinlei as he spoke. I admit defeat. Fan Tinlei's old face turned blue and white for a while, and then gritted his teeth and said, if he was lying on his stomach and hit a flag of 1,200 meters with a sniper rifle, he could still break it, and if the gun in his hand was not tampered with, he might still have a chance to hit. But Han Fei chose to stand, and the gun was tampered with. If he also stood and shot like Han Fei, it would be boring at all. So he chose to throw in the towel. As Fan Tinlei admitted defeat in the marksmanship assessment, time passed quickly. Han Fei and the others were training extremely cruelly every day, and during these trainings, Han Fei slapped Fan Tinlei and the others in the face. Refreshed the records of the entire Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade, completely crushing Fan Tinlei and others. Armed off-road. Obstacle course. Han Fei was the first in every training subject, and they all completely broke the historical record, and even created a new record that shocked Fan Tinlei and others. Under such circumstances, in the blink of an eye, the Red Blood Cell team of the Lone Wolf Special Task Force was also officially established. And with the formation of the Red Blood Cell Group, Han Fei also got a hint from the system. The task was completed, and he obtained the Universal Longevity Pill. When Han Fei obtained such mission items, he didn't need to stay in the Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade anymore. He could have left, but he didn't leave immediately. Because Fan Tinlei also sent him an apology. However, while he was waiting for Fan Tinlei to apologize to him in front of the entire Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade, before Fan Tinlei could apologize, he found Han Fei alone. This is the People High School team. Han Fei, although I knew that you were extraordinary 3 years ago, I didn't expect that 3 years later, you would be so powerful. After the high school team found Han Fei, they smiled at Han Fei and spoke. What do you mean? Han Fei went straight to the point. Please also let the Golden Eagle go, the high school team said to Han Fei. If you do something wrong, you should pay the price, Han Fei said. I know, but the Golden Eagle mainly wants you to be a soldier, not really wants to target you for anything, the high school team said. At first, perhaps, but his intentions were later mixed with a certain amount of selfishness, Han Fei said. Selfish? The high school team was stunned, then smiled at Han Fei and said, it's not just him, Even if I'm in charge of the assessment, I will be equally selfish when I meet a seedling like you. You have been extremely dazzling lately, whether it is marksmanship, fighting ability, or other skills, but we have shocked our entire Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade. Han Fei shook his head. Just take it as a favor for my Special Operations Brigade. After all, our Special Operations Brigade made a move for you 3 years ago. Although it was a matter of course for us to take action at that time, it was our duty. But in the matter of the Golden Eagle, I really hope that you can raise your noble hand. You're serious. If you have to say that, I can't just forget it, but I think apology is good for Fan Tinley, Han Fei said. What's the explanation? The high school team wondered. Although Fan Tinley has fought a lot of battles, I think his psychological quality is not strong enough, Han Fei said. Why do you think that? The high school team asked. Intuition. Han Fei said. Then your intuition should not be accurate. Since the Golden Eagle became a soldier of the Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade, he has carried out many missions, and each time he has completed it excellently, and he does not have any psychological quality problems, high school team said. So, that's it, don't worry, I'll stop. Seeing this, Han Fei didn't say anything more. When he first came into this world, he did owe a favor to the high school team. At that time, the Lone Wolf Group B led by the high school team helped him. After talking to the high school team, Han Fei followed closely and went to find Shu Tianlong. Long, I'm leaving. You also take leave for the past 2 days, and I'll help you break through Mingjin. Han Fei said to Shu Tianlong. Is this leaving? Leave without thinking, stay here. Shu Tianlong said complicatedly. Do you think it's interesting to stay here with my strength? Han Fei said. Yes, your strength is too strong, and for you, the springboard of the Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade is too small. In addition, you are the prince of the Han family, and the prince is your identity, Shu Tianlong said. That's it, okay, let's go, let's get out of here with me. I don't have much time, I will stay in Nanjing for a week at most, and then I will return to the imperial capital. Han Fei to Shu Tian. Oh, okay. Shu Tianlong answered, and then followed Han Fei to find Chen Shanmen. You're leaving? Chen Minhu looked at Han Fei suspiciously. Not bad, Han Fei said. You're not going to ask the Chief of Staff to apologize to you? The Chief of Staff will inevitably apologize to you in public tomorrow. Chen Shanmen was surprised. He had been struggling with such things for the past 2 days. No need, you help Long approve the leave, and the matter will be over, Han Fei said. No problem. Chen Shanmen suddenly opened his mouth with a smile, and then gave Shu Tianlong a week's leave. After Shu Tianlong's approval was successful, Han Fei directly took Shu Tianlong and left the army. When he left, he didn't say hello to Wang Yunbing and the others. It was easy to leave. After leaving the army, Han Fei took Shu Tianlong to the military compound of the Southeast Military Region, and then asked Shu Tianlong to buy some Chinese medicinal materials. After purchasing Chinese herbal medicines, Han Fei used Chinese medicinal materials to prepare a medicinal bath for Shu Tianlong according to the proportion, helping Shu Tianlong to treat his dark injuries. In less than 3 days, Shu Tianlong's secret injury was repaired, and as the secret injury was repaired, Han Fei used his strength to massage Shu Tianlong's body, and then Shu Tianlong broke through to Mingjin. Since then, the strength has changed dramatically compared to before. Thank you, Master, Shu Tianlong said to Han Fei, extremely grateful. Let's not talk about this, let's do it well, and don't forget to follow the breath I pass to you every day and combine it with full hair. The next time I see you, if you are developing well, I will surprise you at that time. Han Fei patted Shu Tianlong on the shoulder with his hand. Surprise? What is it? Shu Tianlong looked at Han Fei puzzled. You'll know when the time comes. Han Fei laughed and then didn't say anything more. Then, Han Fei stayed at his grandfather's house for another 3 days, and then, accompanied by Shu Tianlong, he headed towards the airport, preparing to fly back to the imperial capital. Now that the almighty longevity pill has been obtained, these things have to be given to Grandpa as soon as possible. At this time, Han Fei sat in the co-pilot while Shu Tianlong sat in the main pilot, and Shu Tianlong drove an off-road vehicle to send Han Fei to the airport. Halfway through the journey, you are about to pass a tall building. Han Fei suddenly felt the danger. Almost in the moment when he felt the danger, he suddenly looked at the rearview mirror of the car quickly, and then pulled his left hand violently and was controlled by Shu Tianlong on the steering wheel. Make the car suddenly turn to the left with a quick turn. Bang! Almost instantaneously as the car turned, a sniper bullet landed on the car. If it weren't for Han Fei making the car turn quickly, it would definitely hit his body. There are snipers. Shu Tianlong's pupils shrank. Well, be careful, Han Fei said to Shu Tianlong in a deep voice. Ding! The system mission is released, because the host sabotaged the operation of the Sakura group. The Sakura group launched an assassination of the host. Please avoid the assassination of the Sakura group, and capture or kill the person who assassinated the host, and complete the task to reward a bottle of primary gene potion. Almost at the moment when he opened his mouth to Shu Tianlong, the mechanical voice of the system suddenly came into Han Fei's mind. Sakura group? Han Fei was stunned for a moment, and then his eyes narrowed subconsciously. The system turns on the radar to scan the map. With the opening of the radar scanning map, Han Fei suddenly found a red dot in the surrounding area. Good guys, and no less, 5 snipers. And it is locked in different directions, if it is not for his quick pull of the steering wheel, which makes the car turn instantly, but drives directly over. Even if he dodges the attack of the first sniper, the attacks of other snipers will fall towards him. Tianlong, step on the accelerator. A cold color flashed in Han Fei's eyes, and then he said to Shu Tianlong. Oh, Shu Tianlong responded, and immediately stepped on the accelerator again, and with him doing so, Han Fei pulled the steering wheel and suddenly slipped into one of the alleys. After getting in, Han Fei asked Shu Tianlong to drive the car into an underground garage, and then, with Shu Tianlong, walked towards the top floor of the building where the underground garage was located. As he walked forward, he took out 2 boxes from the trunk of the SUV. These were 2 silver-white boxes, and after he took out the boxes, he casually threw one to Shu Tianlong. What do we want? Shu Tianlong asked as he subconsciously took the box and looked at Han Fei puzzled. You'll find out later, Han Fei said to Shu Tianlong, and then the two of them quickly went up to the top floor with the box, and when they went up to the top floor, Han Fei opened the box, and then a bunch of parts came into Shu Tianlong's field of vision. This is the part of the sniper rifle that is disassembled. AWP. Shu Tianlong was startled. He never thought that Han Fei would put a split sniper rifle in the trunk. Of course. In fact, where did Shu Tianlong know that this silver white box, in fact, was not in the trunk at all before this? The reason why Han Fei took this out of the trunk was just to not reveal that he could take out the gun out of thin air. So he went to the trunk ahead of time, and quickly took the box out of the trunk. And this box, it seems to be taken out of the trunk, but in fact, it is taken out of the system space at all. Assemble yours quickly. There are 5 terrorists around here. Give you a mission. Snipe out one of the terrorists with a sniper, Han Fei said. Master, how did you know that there were 5 terrorists? Shu Tianlong said in surprise, and at the same time, he was surprised, but he also quickly assembled a sniper without slowing down. Don't ask me how I know, just do what I say, Han Fei said. Oh. Shu Tianlong responded. Both of them are elites, although Shu Tianfei assembles quickly, but he also gets the sniper right in 3 consecutive times. After getting the sniper rifle, Han Fei used the system's radar map location to lock on to the perimeter. According to the system, the 5 snipers, the sniper who fired at the beginning, left their original positions, and the other 4 snipers were in 4 nearby buildings. At 9 o'clock, on the top floor of the Qianyi building, there was a sniper, and the celestial dragon killed him, Han Fei said to Shu Tianlong. Yes. Shu Tianlong responded, quickly following the target. Han Fei said, put the gun on the guardrail, and looked towards the target. At this glance, Shu Tianlong's pupils shrank, and sure enough, there was a hidden sniper in that place. If he didn't know it in advance, he really couldn't find the other party. Hold your breath and don't be nervous, Han Fei said to Shu Tianlong. Shu Tianlong responded, then corrected the sniper according to the wind speed, and then shot all at once. The bullet was instantly discharged, and it attacked a sniper who was only slightly revealing his head at 1,100 meters. Give it to the head at once. Well done. Han Fei praised and appreciated, and at the same time, the sniper rifle in his hand was suddenly aimed at the top floor of a building 1,300 meters away on the right, and he shot instantly, and immediately saw a sniper being killed, and after doing such a thing, Han Fei quickly moved the sniper rifle according to the system marking of the radar map, and shot at other lurking snipers. Sniper of 1,400 meters in front of the left, 1,500 meters sniper directly ahead. 3 shots were fired in quick succession, each shot accurately taking the life of a terrorist. "Let's go. Get out of here." After doing such a thing, Han Fei said to Xu Tianlong, and at the same time, quickly disassembled the gun and put it back into the silver white box. Seeing this, Xu Tianlong also did the same. "Done with something like this. Didn't you say 5 terrorists, and another one?" Xu Tianlong subconsciously asked Han Fei. Xu Tianlong's heart was beating very fast at this time. Although he had conducted various trainings in the Wolf's Tooth Special Operations Brigade, it was the first time that he had actually fought in such a formal manner. "You'll find out later," Han Fei said. The two of them went downstairs quickly, and after going downstairs, Han Fei took Xu Tianlong straight to pick up the car and drove out of the underground garage, and then walked towards a shopping mall. According to the system, the terrorist who shot Han Fei at the beginning entered the mall after the shooting failed. The two parked their cars in the parking space, and then entered the mall under the leadership of Han Fei, and according to the system, the terrorists were on the 3rd floor of the mall. When Han Fei brought Xu Tianlong here, Xu Tianlong's heart was full of incomprehension at this time. To be honest, he didn't understand how Han Fei was able to know the location of the terrorists in an instant, and he also didn't understand why Han Fei would bring him to this mall. At this time, Han Fei gave Xu Tianlong a mysterious feeling. Besides, they're killing people. Although they are special forces, and when they are on a mission, they can kill the enemy, but now they are not on a mission. Under Xu Tianlong's incomprehension, Han Fei and Xu Tianlong quickly stepped into the 3rd floor of the mall, and along the way, Han Fei took Xu Tianlong forward with a smile, met many people, and staggered with many people, until suddenly, when he met a person who was wearing a suit, was very short, had a watch on his hand, and looked like a successful person. In the moment when he was thinking about the other party, Han Fei suddenly made a lightning shot, hitting the opponent's head with a blow, knocking him unconscious, and almost when he knocked this person unconscious, he saw that this person also suddenly took out a dagger in his hand, obviously preparing to attack Han Fei, but unfortunately he was already knocked unconscious by Han Fei before he could make a move on Han Fei. Stunned the little young man with a punch, followed by Han Fei, who suddenly grabbed the other party's arm and let him lean on his body, and at the same time, he also looked at Xu Tianlong on the side. Seeing this, Xu Tianlong did not hesitate at all, and also stretched out a hand and helped the little young man up. Then, as if they were sending off old friends, the two of them left the place with the little young man. Because things happened so quickly, basically no one saw anything. In addition, even if someone saw it, they didn't interfere with the idea that less is better than more. After the two left the place, they then took the small young man to the rooftop. After coming here, Han Fei removed the joints of the small young man, and at the same time, he also searched the other party's body, and as a result, a Desert Eagle and identity documents were found from this person's body. However, because the document should be forged, although it is exactly the same as the real document, Han Fei is very sure that it is definitely a forgery. The small young man in front of him looked exactly like the people of the Celestial Empire, but in fact, at the moment when Han Fei made a move on him, he knew that this was a small Japan. It's not a Celestial Empire at all, and the certificate says the nationality of the Celestial Empire, which is absolutely nonsense. As for him, who has killed many little devils in his previous life, he can clearly perceive the disgusting smell in the bones of the little devils. And the system also prompted, it was the Sakura group who assassinated him. Although Han Fei of the Sakura group had never heard of it before, the one who could be named after such a name was probably Little Japan. He searched the back of the little young man slightly, and then checked the little devil's teeth. As a result, he found venom. Han Fei was not the slightest surprised by such a situation. These little devils, what they like to play the most is this set: once caught, many little devils will bite through the venom and then commit suicide. So, Han Fei went straight to the butt of the Desert Eagle and smashed out his teeth. After doing such a thing, Han Fei woke up the little devil. As soon as the little devil woke up, he saw Han Fei's complexion change drastically, and then he wanted to eject himself from the ground, but as a result, he found that he couldn't use his strength, and his joints were all removed with heavy hands, and as long as he moved, it hurt. Then he immediately killed himself by biting the venom. However, he was disappointed again, his teeth were smashed out, and the venom and all that were gone. This situation made the little devil's face change greatly. "Tell me, who are you? Why did you snipe me? Han Fei said. The little devil heard Han Fei's words, closed his mouth, and didn't say anything at all. The eyes that looked at Han Fei were obviously full of murderous intent. Yo, play deep in front of my death. Do you think this is possible? Han Fei pursed his lips disdainfully, and then stretched out his hands towards the little devil's body. Ah! In the next second, hysterical screams came from the mouth of the little devil. Split the muscles and bones. At this time, Han Fei used the long-standing Chinese technique on the little devil. The severe pain caused by such techniques is something that few people can resist. After the little devil screamed for a minute or two, Han Fei said to the little devil again, "Can you tell me who you are now?" "Don't think about it," the little devil said coldly. "Really?" Han Fei smiled, then picked up the tactical dagger on the side, and as soon as he turned into the body of the second devil, he turned into a long mouth on his body, and blood suddenly flowed out. "Really, don't you say it?" Han Fei said to the little devil. "No way." The little devil said, "Since you little devil can speak the words of the Celestial Empire, then you should also know about our Celestial Empire. I don't know if you have heard of it, Ling Kai. It is to cut off the flesh on your body piece by piece, and cut it with thousands of knives, and in the process of cutting, you will definitely not be allowed to die easily. Although I haven't executed such a punishment in a long time, for a little devil like you, I'm happy to do it," Han Fei said with a smile. Almost as soon as he said this, the little devil's face changed suddenly. "Why, don't you believe what I said?" Han Fei smiled, and then stretched out his left hand, tearing the little devil's clothes apart at once, and at the same time, the tactical dagger in his hand lightly cut a thin piece of flesh on the little devil's body. "Come on, what sashimi have you little Japan always liked to eat? How about you try your own meat?" Han Fei fed the cut meat into the little devil's mouth at once. "The devil. You are the devil." The little devil who was still unyielding just now was directly scared to pee. Even Shu Tianlong on the side looked a little trembling. Although from this period of time together, he knew that Han Fei was decisive and would be retribution, but he didn't expect that Han Fei's real shot would be so terrifying. With such a situation, the little devil's mental defense line collapsed, and then, in Han Fei's inquiry, he told Han Fei everything. The little devil came to the Cherry Blossom Group. The Sakura Group is indeed an organization created by the little devils, and the main purpose is to infiltrate Huaxia, rebel against certain people, control, use the characters who turn over, assassinate some leaders, or elites, and obtain various intelligence. Han Fei is the grandson of the second leader of Huaxia, plus he is also the son of Han Shaoshan. Han Shaoshan once killed many people in the island country. When Han Fei's performance in the Wolf's Tooth Special Operations Brigade was fed back to the high level by the spies infiltrated by the Sakura Group in the Wolf's Tooth Special Operations Brigade, the high-level leaders of the Sakura Group immediately did not hesitate to show their chess pieces and kill Han Fei during training. In this way, not only can Han Fei die, but at the same time, it can also make the Wolf Tooth Special Warfare Brigade a big deal. It's a pity that Han Fei was not only fine, but instead abolished their 2 dark chess, and even more, from the other hidden dark chess, they also learned about Han Fei's training. This guy is definitely a demon. Such a character must not be allowed to throw himself into the battlefield, so there was this assassination. 5 snipers to snipe Han Fei. It can be said that if it weren't for Han Fei's radar system, even if he dodged 1 sniper, it would be very difficult to find other snipers. As the little devil told Han Fei everything, the little devil begged Han Fei for mercy. "Kill me, please kill me." The little devil knew very well that once he continued to live, as long as Han Fei gave him to the special department, what awaited him would inevitably be an even more terrifying punishment. In addition, he told Han Fei everything. Even if he returned to the Sakura Group alive, he would definitely die. Hearing the little devil begging for mercy like this, Han Fei frowned, and then the tactical dagger in his hand swiped the little devil's neck. If he could, Han Fei also wanted to let this little devil continue to suffer. However, he has a lot of secrets, and he doesn't want to be violent and reveal them for the time being. Ding! The system mission is released, and the Sakura Group mission is followed. Please eradicate all the members of the Sakura Group that invaded Huaxia and destroy the distribution base it has established. Complete the quest and be rewarded with an AI watch. Suddenly, the mechanical voice of the system came into Han Fei's mind again. Artificial Intelligence Watch, what is that? Han Fei asked subconsciously. It's like a portable supercomputer, but it's AI, it's faster, it's more defensible, and it can handle most things for the host. the system said. Oh. Han Fei replied, interested in the artificial intelligence watch. Let's go. Now let's continue to the airport. Han Fei gave a quick response to the system, then stood up and walked towards the door of the rooftop. He just threw it here? Shu Tianlong asked subconsciously. Someone will take care of it. Han Fei said. Master, can you tell me what identity you are hiding behind you? What did you mean by the Grim Reaper you just said to the little devil? Shu Tianlong said to Han Fei as he quickly followed Han Fei. Murder license, have you heard of it? Han Fei stopped, and then said to Shu Tianlong with a smile. The legendary Huasha mysterious adjudicator? Shu Tianlong said subconsciously. Adjudicator? Han Fei smiled, and then said, I was originally going to surprise you next time, but since you have experienced such a thing today, then I will reveal it to you in advance. I have the intention of absorbing you and doing it well. Absorb me? Shu Tianlong was stunned for a moment, and then said happily, Are you really ready to absorb me? I kid you not. Otherwise, do you think I have nothing to do to help you break through Mingjin, although I have seen you well, but more I want to accompany you again, Han Fei said. Master, you are really hidden. Besides, can you tell me in advance, what is the organization I am going to enter? Hearing Shu Tianlong say this, Han Fei casually took out the color book and threw it towards Shu Tianlong. Shu Tianlong stretched out his hand to catch the book, and then opened the book. As soon as it opens, Shu Tianlong was stunned. Han Fei, the leader of the 7 Kills group, the rank of Major General. In addition to this, there are 2 signatures, the Supreme Ruler. Well, although when he heard Han Fei talk about the murder license, Shu Tianlong felt that Han Fei's hidden identity was very awesome, but he didn't expect it to be so awesome. The rank of Major General, Master, please take my knees. After Shu Tianlong was shocked for a moment, he smiled at Han Fei and said, his expression was a certain excited. This is the elite of the real elite, and I don't know how many times higher than his current Wolftooth Special Operations Brigade soldiers. I'll take you, but only if you improve your strength next. In the 7 Kills group, in the early stage of your Ming Jin, you didn't even meet the assessment standards. Even if I wanted to open a back door for you now, if your strength entered, you would be abused. Han Fei patted Shu Tianlong's shoulder with his hand and said. Shu Tianlong nodded again, and then returned the document to Han Fei. Han Fei casually put the document away, seemed to put it in his pocket, and put what he said in the system space. With the continuous use of the system, Han Fei also understood many functions of the system. The system has 2 ways to store items. One is to buy weapons and equipment in the system, which can be placed in the system space for free, and the other is that the system also supports the host to spend money to buy 0-hour storage space. However, this temporary storage space is relatively expensive in money, and the more you want to store items on a large scale, the more money you will spend. It is charged at the rate of 100,000 yuan per cubic meter per month. However, since you have such an awesome identity, why do you still go to the Wolftooth Special Operations Brigade? No wonder, you don't want to be a soldier at all. What kind of soldier are you? No wonder all kinds of levels are so high. It's also the chief of staff. They don't know your identity. If they do, don't be scared. At most, he has the rank of colonel, but you are a major general, and you are also a major general of a special organization. I don't know how many times higher this level is. Shu Tianlong said to Han Fei very happily. As soon as he said this, Shu Tianlong couldn't help but feel weird. The Southeast Military Region is my grandfather's unit, and I just wanted to go to the Wolf's Tooth Special Operations Brigade to get a soy sauce and see how the Special Operations Brigade was doing, Han Fei said. How do you feel in the end, Master? Shu Tianlong said. Naturally, it's very bad. To be honest, most of the people in the Special Operations Brigade give me the impression that they are proud soldiers. Although the Special Operations Brigade has carried out a relatively large number of tasks and has scored many glorious achievements, it is precisely because they have completed too many tasks that they have a feeling of being on top of the sky. In such a situation, once encountering a strong enemy, taking advantage of such weaknesses a little will bring a fatal blow to the Wolftooth Special Operations Brigade. Han Fei shook his head, and then criticized mercilessly. This. Shu Tianlong opened his mouth, not knowing what to say. Take Fan Tinlay as an example. When I went to join the Special Operations Brigade, he immediately wanted to suppress me and then let me join the army, although his thoughts were understandable, but he was too idealistic, and many times he was empiricist. How unwise would it be to bet with me without knowing me? Sooner or later, he will have a problem, Han Fei said. Speaking of this, Han Fei looked at Shu Tianlong and said, when you return to the team this time, once you red blood cells go on a mission, give me a clever point. If something happens, contact me as soon as possible. I don't want to see you kid die in vain. Well, it will. Shu Tianlong saw that Han Fei said so rightly, and immediately responded solemnly. Remember what I said? Han Fei said. The reason why Shu Tianlong said this is because, although this world has changed a lot because of Han Fei's arrival. But, Han Fei wasn't sure if something would happen to the red blood cells. Throughout the story, red blood cells, whether they are exercising or going out, will be caught by the enemy as soon as possible. I hope the world won't say that, but Han Fei felt that the probability of such a thing was very high. Originally, if Fan Tinley apologized to him and suffered some humiliation, maybe he would wake up, but now Fan Tinley is afraid that it is still that Fan Tinley. The decision-making group of the Wolf's Tooth Special Operations Brigade is really not bad. At least in Han Fei's eyes, with his current situation, he could easily slaughter the entire Wolf Tooth Special Operations Brigade by himself, even without the help of a radar scanning system. After talking to Shu Tianlong for a while, Han Fei made a phone call and asked people to deal with the aftermath. As the squadron leader of the 7 Killings group, there is someone who serves him. Then, Han Fei went to the airport, and when he went to the airport, Han Fei left Shu Tianlong and said that he was going to put the sniper rifle in a secret place, but in fact, he just took it back to the system. After waiting at the airport for about 10 minutes, Han Fei took a plane back to the imperial capital. After returning to the imperial capital, Han Fei went to Jiangnan and Haihai non-stop. Came here, conducted a routine body search, and then Han Fei entered ***, and then found his grandfather. Little monkey, why did you come to me as soon as you returned to the imperial capital? I heard that you have been playing too much these days. Your grandfather's Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade was almost dismantled by you, and the entire Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade was slapped in the face by you. Seeing Han Fei coming, Grandpa said to Han Fei with a smile, and motioned for Han Fei to sit down on the stone bench in the small courtyard with him. I didn't mean it. I just wanted to get a soy sauce to see how my grandfather's Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade was doing, but as a result, Fan Tinley was making things difficult for me in all kinds of ways, so there was nothing I could do to crush the Special Operations Brigade. Han Fei shook his head and said. You. Grandpa smiled dumbly, and then said, however, it's good for you to teach a lesson like that. I heard that the Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade has been sending spies recently, and I don't know how this Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade governs the army. Speaking of which, Grandpa, when I came back to the imperial capital, I was shot on the way, and the person who shot it was the Sakura Group. According to my interrogation, this Sakura Group is an organization used by little devils to infiltrate our Washa, Han Fei said. I know about this Sakura Group, but I can completely eradicate it, and every time the people arrested, I haven't been able to get any specific and useful information from their mouths. Grandpa said, looking at Han Fei with a straight face. Since you have also touched this Sakura Group, then you will have a task next, and you will be responsible for destroying the Washa branch of this Sakura Group. Little monkey, don't you have confidence? Well, no problem. Han Fei nodded, then looked at the surrounding guards, and said to his grandfather, Grandpa, I want to talk to you alone. Xiao Zhang is not an outsider, let's talk about it here. Grandpa's eyes lit up, and then he smiled at Han Fei. I still insist on talking to you alone with Grandpa. This matter is very important, and there is no room for mistakes, Han Fei said. That's it. Grandpa nodded, then stood up and took Han Fei to the study. No one will come here without my permission. After coming to the study, Grandpa said to Han Fei with a smile. Little monkey, what are you trying to tell me? Grandpa was curious about what Han Fei wanted to say. Grandpa, if I say that I have an elixir that can help you prolong your life, do you believe it? Han Fei said with a straight look at his grandfather. Extend your life? Grandpa looked at Han Fei in surprise. Yes, prolonging life, and it's not an ordinary extension. Grandpa, I recently got an elixir that can extend the life of the human body for 20 years, and can repair dark injuries. If you take it, it must be able to make you a lot healthier. Han Fei said to his grandfather with a straight face, and when he said this, he looked at his grandfather with a certain amount of nervousness. He was nervous because he was afraid that his grandfather would not believe him. After all, extending life by 20 years is not possible for most people. Hearing Han Fei say this, Grandpa smiled. Don't worry, Grandpa doesn't think you want to deceive me about anything. Give me the pill. Grandpa will take it. Grandpa said kindly to Han Fei. Thank you, Grandpa. Han Fei immediately breathed a sigh of relief, but after he breathed a sigh of relief, he didn't immediately take out the pill, but said to his grandfather with a straight face, Grandpa, your grandson has recently had a certain adventure, and some changes have taken place, and the pill is indeed not a lie to you. For example, this. Han Fei's right hand shook into the void, and then he saw an AWP sniper rifle appear in his hand. Huh, are you a spatial ability? Grandpa's eyes narrowed. Yes. Han Fei nodded. Ha ha ha, little monkey, you really shocked my grandfather, you can have such an ability. Grandpa burst out laughing. Hearing what Grandpa said, Han Fei didn't explain anything, and then put away the AWP sniper rifle, and then with a grip in the void, a pill that exuded brilliance appeared in his hand. Almost at the moment when this elixir appeared, a strong medicinal fragrance came out, making people smell the elixir slightly, and they were in a state of full energy and a lot of health all of a sudden. After taking out the elixir, Han Fei handed the elixir to his grandfather. Seeing this, Grandpa solemnly took the pill, then looked at the pill in his hand curiously, and then swallowed it in one gulp, showing a posture of incomparably believing in Han Fei, which made Han Fei moved. After all, Grandpa is the number 2 chief. In general, I will never swallow something unknown. Almost as soon as the pill was swallowed into his mouth, he saw that his grandfather's white hair suddenly became black, and at the same time, his face with a certain wrinkle became younger, and even some black impurities were discharged from his grandfather's body. Although Han Fei had already learned about the benefits of the universal longevity pill from the mouth of the system before obtaining the universal longevity pill, he still couldn't help but be a little frightened when he really saw such a powerful medicinal effect. Of course, while being frightened, I was more happy. Grandpa has become younger, although I don't know if the lifespan has been extended, but judging from this vitality, it is really much better. This made Han Fei very eager to get the universal life enhancement pill again. If he got more, would it be possible to make his grandfather's lifespan even longer? However, it is not easy to get such a thing. When he learned about the universal life enhancement pill, Han Fei asked the system if such pills could be purchased. The system tells him that he can buy it, but he can't buy it with his current permissions. You must elevate your access to the pills to purchase the elixir. If you want to elevate permissions, you must do tasks, and only by constantly doing system tasks will you have the opportunity to elevate permissions. To be honest, Han Fei admires the maker of this system very much now. Although there are no failure penalties for this system. However, even if there is no penalty for failure, in fact, it will also make people can't help but work hard to complete the task. Because he has a lot of things that tempt you and make you have to work hard for them. I'm going to wash up, little monkey, and you're going to walk around by yourself. When Han Fei was happy, Grandpa couldn't help but show a touch of joy on his face when he saw his physical condition. As a martial artist with good strength, even if his strength is not as good as before because of his age, he still clearly feels the changes in his body. After saying these words to Han Fei, Grandpa left the study and went to wash. The black substance that overflowed from the body made the body slimy, and it also emitted a foul smell. 10 minutes later, Grandpa stayed with Han Fei again, and they were not in the study, but went to 2 rooms outside. The previous room didn't smell so good because of the black substance that spilled from Grandpa's body. Little monkey, this time you really gave Grandpa something amazing. Now, Grandpa can at least stay in this position for a lot of time, which has a lot of credit for you. Grandpa said to Han Fei with emotion. As long as Grandpa is in good health, Han Fei said. It's not a shame that Grandpa loves you so much. Grandpa smiled, and after laughing for a while, he followed him and looked at Han Fei with a straight face. Little monkey, do you still have an elixir like this? Not for the time being. Han Fei said. Not for the time being, which means that it is possible to get it in the future. Yi Zheng's. Han Fei nodded. This? Little monkey, did you tell anyone that you have such a thing? Grandpa shook his body, and then looked at Han Fei solemnly. I didn't tell anyone but my grandfather, Han Fei said. Well done. Little monkey, don't tell anyone that you have such things in the future, even Shaoxin, Xinyu, and Yaoer. Once this kind of thing is known to others, many people will inevitably come to your door and ask you for it. Although with the identity of our old Han family, there are very few people who can threaten you, but you are not afraid of 10,000. In addition, if you can easily take out such things, it's just that, so it's not impossible to give some to others. After all, many old friends came from the battlefield at the beginning, although later the concept was a little different, and each other's positions were different, but after all, they were all comrades in arms. After all, they were all pillars of the country. But such a thing is obviously not something that can be taken out easily, so no one knows whether other people will take risks if they know about it. Being able to make people 20 years younger is simply unimaginable. The emperor in ancient times would still do all kinds of ridiculous things because of the matter of immortality, let alone in this era. And once people from other countries know about it, things will become even more troublesome. Even, it may not be impossible to cause a war. This kind of elixir is already equivalent to strategic materials. Grandpa looked at Han Fei with a straight face. He wasn't exaggerating. Can increase people's life expectancy. Such an elixir will inevitably make many people in power excited. Grandpa, I understand this. I'm not going to tell anyone. Han Fei Zheng said, as early as when he obtained the elixir, he had already considered such a thing. It's good to understand. Grandpa nodded. Then the grandfather and grandson talked about other things with each other, and more than an hour later, Han Fei left Zhongnan and Haihai. And as Han Fei left, Han Fei's grandfather called the guards to his side, and then gave him a certain gag order. After Han Fei left Zhongnan and Haihai, he returned to the military compound. When Han Yao saw that Han Fei had gone home, she was very happy. Then he gave Han Fei something to eat, and prepared to cook a delicious dish for Han Fei to taste in the evening. At the same time, Han Fei's mother was also like this. With them like this, when Han Shaoshan returned home, he was immediately quite jealous when he saw the sumptuous dishes. This is his baby wife and baby daughter. During the time that Han Fei left home, he didn't cook any big meals for him. Outcome. As soon as Han Fei's kid went home, he was treated like this, which is also a point where the class differentiation is too serious. So Han Shaoshan gobbled up to show his dissatisfaction, which caused Xiao Xinyu to laugh and scold. In the blink of an eye, Han Fei had returned to the imperial capital for more than 10 days, and in the past 10 days, Han Fei secretly began to investigate the Sakura group. According to the words of Agawa Erzaburo, who was killed by him not long ago, he tried to find out the location of the base of the Washa branch of the Sakura group. According to the words of that Agawa Erzaburo, even Agawa Erzaburo didn't know where the base was. Because although Agawa Nazaburo is a member of the Sakura group, he has not been to the branch base since he came to the Celestial Empire, and they are just peripheral members, and once there is a mission, they will be notified in various ways. Except for the mission, Agawa Erzaburo and the others usually don't know how many companions they have. The secrecy of this Sakura group is quite good, and with him like this, before he could find out the distribution base of the Sakura group, on this day, He Chengguang suddenly called Han Fei. Hey, morning light. Han Fei answered the phone and said with a smile. Cousin, can you come to Southeast University? He Chengguang said, his voice revealing a certain seriousness. What's going on? What's going on? Han Fei said. Cousin, I don't know if Xiao Xiao told you that there has been a person pursuing her recently, He Chengguang said. Xiao Xiao is so beautiful, isn't it normal for someone to chase her? Han Fei said with a smile. But Xiao Xiao likes you, cousin. I can see that Xiao Xiao has been very annoyed recently. She has rejected that person many times, but that person still has frequent contact with Xiao Xiao, He Chengguang said. There's such a thing. Then why didn't you hit that guy? Han Fei's face sank, and then he spoke again. I wanted to make a move, but Xiao Xiao wouldn't let me. She said that the person had helped her friend, He Chengguang said. What's that man's name? Han Fei who wondered. Wang Yidong, He Chengguang said. Wang Yidong, it's him. Han Fei's eyes flashed with a cold light. Cousin, do you know Wang Yidong? He Chengguang said curiously. Well, I've heard of him. I will come to Southeast University tomorrow. Before that, Chengguang, pay attention to Wang Yidong, and do not allow him to contact Xiao Xiao again. If you find that he has contact again, whether Xiao Xiao lets you beat him or not, you will call me again, Han Fei said. Got it, cousin, He Chengguang said. Then the two hung up the phone, and after hanging up the phone, Han Fei's eyes flashed with murderous intent. Unexpectedly, Lin Xiaoxiao fell in love with herself in this world, and Wang Yidong would still appear, and Wang Yidong took the initiative to pursue Xiaoxiao. Although he didn't respond to Xiaoxiao's intentions, Wang Yidong's guy was not a good person. Although Wang Yidong is a little sad and sympathetic in the story, it does not mean that Han Fei is ready to let Lin Xiaoxiao and Wang Yadong come into contact with anything. After all, he and Lin Xiaoxiao have also been together for 3 years. Even if it's not a couple, but the relationship between brother and sister, that's absolutely right. The next day, Han Fei took a plane back to Nanjing, and after returning to Nanjing, he took a taxi directly to Southeast University. As soon as he arrived at Southeast University, Han Fei walked down from the taxi, and a Hummer appeared in Han Fei's sight. At the same time that the Hummer appeared in Han Fei's sight, next to the Hummer stood a young man in casual clothes, who was stopping a beautiful woman in a white dress holding a bouquet of flowers in her hand. The young man's face was resolute and exuberant. Didn't they all say don't do this? I really have a boyfriend, don't send me flowers anymore, it's easy to misunderstand. Lin Xiaoxiao opened his mouth and said to Wang Yadong, who stopped him. I don't mean anything else, I just want to be friends with you, really, not to lie to you. Wang Yadong looked at Lin Xiaoxiao with a smile, looked at Lin Xiaoxiao with a sincere look and said, is it really just to be friends? As soon as Wang Yadong's words fell, before Lin Xiaoxiao could continue to speak, a calm voice suddenly sounded, and as these voices sounded, I saw Han Fei appear in Wang Yadong's sight. Brother Fei. With Han Fei's appearance, Lin Xiaoxiao's beautiful eyes lit up, and then he happily called out to Han Fei. Don't bother Xiaoxiao in the future. Han Fei nodded to Lin Xiaoxiao, and then said to Wang Yadong. You are Xiaoxiao's boyfriend? Wang Yadong was stunned, and then said, I just want to be friends with Xiaoxiao, and there is no other malice. Do you believe what you say? Han Fei said. I really just want to be friends with Xiaoxiao, please don't get me wrong. Wang Yadong said. Huh. Han Fei frowned, and then suddenly rose into the air, a tomahawk-style splitting leg slashed towards Wang Yadong's head. Wang Yadong's pupils shrank, and he hurriedly used his hand to resist the attack. Bang! The legs and hands touched, and the terrifying huge force poured out from Han Fei's legs, and then he saw that Wang Yadong's legs were weak, and he was directly chopped to the ground by Han Fei's huge power, and at the same time as he knelt on the ground, his face became pale, and there was a clicking sound in his 2 arms. I hate dishonest people. Let me tell you one last sentence, don't pester Xiaoxiao again, otherwise, it won't just beat you, Han Fei said coldly. I really just wanted to be friends with her, nothing ill intent. Wang Yadong endured the pain in his arm and said in a deep voice, when he said this, the eyes that looked at Han Fei were slightly frightened. Han Fei's strength made him feel cold. If you really just want to be friends, of course there's nothing wrong with that, but you have something else in mind. Look at what you're giving on the ground, red roses. Don't tell me, you don't understand the flower language of red roses. Han Fei said coldly, walked to Lin Xiaoxiao's side as he spoke, grabbed her soft waddle, and led her past Wang Yadong. When he crossed Wang Yadong, Han Fei patted Wang Yadong on the shoulder with his hand who was kneeling on the ground. Lynx. I hope that today is really the last time I will see you by Xiaoxiao's side, otherwise, the fate of the scorpion will be your fate, so do it yourself, don't look for me to die. After speaking, Han Fei didn't wait for Wang Yadong to understand or not, so he took Lin Xiaoxiao and left the place. With Han Fei leaving like this, Wang Yadong's face on the ground really changed drastically, and he couldn't imagine how the person in front of him knew his identity, and the fate of the scorpion. The scorpion died 3 years ago, could it be? Was it the man in front of you who killed him? How is this possible? Han Fei didn't pay attention to Wang Yadong's fright behind him. If it weren't for the fact that this Wang Yadong was now a golden basin, he could be regarded as a sad guy. At this time, Han Fei definitely didn't just give him a kick, but directly killed him. What's the situation over there? Who is that kid? He actually beat Wang Yadong. That person seems familiar to me, but I don't know where I've seen him for a while. Not far from the accident where Han Fei and the others had an accident, there was a black car, which was monitoring Wang Yadong's plainclothes at this time, muttering to each other, all curious about the situation in front of them. Quickly check this person's identity and see if there is anything wrong, the old plainclothes man said. Okay, said the young plainclothes man. As he spoke, he controlled the computer, and according to the surveillance screenshots, he checked Han Fei's identity, and this time, his pupils instantly contracted, and he exclaimed, it's him, the prince of the Han family. The older plainclothes were stunned. Brother Fei, why did you come back? Lin Xiaoxiao said happily to Han Fei. If I don't come back, aren't you all kidnapped by others? Don't contact that Wang Yadong in the future. But I heard Chengguang say that you didn't let Chengguang do it, and in the future, this kind of person will directly let Chengguang clean it up. Don't do anything, she helps your friend, and you can be pestered by him. Han Fei knocked Lin Xiaoxiao's head with his hand, and then said with a straight face. Oh, brother Fei. Lin Xiaoxiao hugged her head and snorted, and then nodded pitifully. People know, they won't dare in the future. If you really want to have a boyfriend, I won't stop you from anything, but you have to know that Wang Yidong is not a good person, otherwise, you think that he is a person who runs a munitions shop and can buy a Humvee. That person is an international mercenary. Han Fei ignored Lin Xiaoxiao's pitiful embarrassment, but gave Lin Xiaoxiao a blow again, and said solemnly again. No, brother Fei, don't get me wrong, Xiaoxiao didn't think about having a boyfriend, he pestered me, and I have always rejected him. Lin Xiaoxiao screamed bitterly and said anxiously that she was afraid that Han Fei would misunderstand. Remember what I said, anyway. Han Fei rubbed Lin Xiaoxiao's head with his hand, and he was no longer serious, but smiled. After beating Wang Yidong, Han Fei took Lin Xiaoxiao for a walk, and then they separated and returned to the military compound. When he returned, he was met by two uninvited guests. The police. Two policemen came to his grandfather's house. Xiaofei, I just heard from these two little comrades that you returned to Nanjing. I still don't believe it. It turns out that you really returned to Nanjing. Why did you come back, and you didn't call your grandfather? Grandpa sat on the chair and greeted Han Fei with a smile. Didn't I want to surprise my grandfather? Grandpa, what's going on? What are these two police comrades going to do? Han Fei said. Hello, we are from the Southeast Police Station, and we have something we want to ask you to help investigate. One of the policemen stood up and said to Han Fei with a straight face. This is a relatively tall young man, and when this person said this, the eyes that looked at Han Fei obviously flashed a trace of hatred. I'm not interested, all right, you can leave. Although the hatred in the young man's eyes flashed, he was still discovered by Han Fei, and after discovering such a look, his brows subconsciously furrowed, and then he waved his hand at the policeman in front of him like a fly, signaling this guy to get out. When did two small ordinary policemen dare to run to the home of the commander of the Southeast Military Region to bring people? Do you really think this is a stupid TV series? How can you do this? The young policeman looked dark, and then said loudly to Han Fei. Why can't I do this? Okay, hurry up, Han said annoyingly. HMPH, Han Fei, don't think that you have a special background, you can really be lawless, and the Son of Heaven is still guilty of the same crime as the common people, let alone you. Let me tell you, just now I said that I asked you for help to promote you, and now you hurry up and follow me to the police station, you have been arrested. Seeing this, the young policeman looked very ugly, and then said to Han Fei in a fierce voice, and as he spoke, he took out the handcuffs and wanted to handcuff Han Fei. Han Fei was dumbfounded now. Is the sun coming out of the west today? Bang! In the next second, the young policeman who was close to Han Fei was directly knocked to the ground by Han Fei's elbow. You dare to attack the police? The young policeman looked at Han Fei in disbelief, and then roared sharply, and while roaring, his hands were actually grabbing his gun. Smack! A heavy slap sounded, and a heavy slap was thrown on the young policeman's face by Han Fei, directly stunned the policeman, and Han Fei's face was extremely strange at this time. When did this Southeast Police Station come to such a strange thing? Not only did he go to the commander of the Southeast Military Region to arrest him, but he even prepared to draw his gun directly. He thought he was the king of heaven or something. Stop! Seeing Han Fei like this, another short young policeman who hadn't opened his mouth since Han Fei came in suddenly spoke. What, you want to shoot too? Han Fei looked at the young man with a sneer. We are the policemen of the Southeast Military Region, Han Fei, you have committed an accident, you have to go with us, the short young policeman said loudly. Han Fei shook his head, these two people were afraid that they had problems with their brains. Grandpa, now I suspect that these two people may be fake policemen, please ask Grandpa to call a few people to interrogate these two brainless guys. After Han Fei shook his head, he said to his grandfather. Grandpa nodded, then shouted, guard. Almost as soon as his words fell, two guards walked through the door. Get these two people to be interrogated properly, they're actually going to shoot and kill me, the commander of the Southeast Military Region, here to find out where they came from. Grandpa said solemnly to the guard. Yes, Chief. said the guard who had come in, and then walked towards the policeman on the ground, and the policeman who was still standing. "No, you can't do this, stop, don't come," the standing policeman shouted, and then drew his gun. The next second, a scream sounded from his mouth, and it turned out that Han Fei suddenly snatched the fruit knife from the fruit bowl he was watching, threw it at the young policeman's hand that was about to draw his gun, and stuck it in the other party's hand at once. "Knock me out and take it away." After doing this, Han Fei said loudly to the two guards. Yes. Although Han Fei was not the commander of the guards, they also responded at the same time, and then, they directly knocked out the policeman on the ground and the policeman who was standing, and then took him away. "Grandpa, in the future, you don't want to let in a policeman with a gun like this. I'm afraid they will do some dangerous things to you. Recently I found a spy organization called the Sakura Group, which has infiltrated all major military regions, police stations and everything. It's very dangerous." After the guards took the two brain-dead policemen away, Han Fei Zheng said to his grandfather. "Espionage organization?" Grandpa frowned, and then said, "I know, I was really careless today." Half an hour later, the guard, who had disappeared with two policemen, returned to the room again. "What's the matter? What did you interrogate?" Han Fei said to one of the guards. "The two of them are indeed policemen, but they didn't come here on orders from their superiors, but came here without permission. The purpose is to arrest Chilled, and then force Chilled to confess so that they can make great contributions," one of the guards said. "Brain dead, yes." Han Fei was speechless for a moment, then changed his words and asked again, "What do they all want me to confess?" "According to them, Chilled, you have had contact with a mercenary named Wang Yudong today, and they suspect that you have colluded with that Wang Yudong. In addition, they also suspect that the murder that happened in Times Square some time ago was done by Chilled on purpose, and even the murder that occurred in the amusement place 3 years ago was also deliberately done by Chilled, and they felt that Chilled was actually one of the terrorists, a big fish." The guard spoke again, and when he said these words, his eyes couldn't help but be a little strange. "Han Fei. It's really unreasonable. How does Xiao Wen lead the team? Such people can make them become policemen." When Han Fei was speechless, his grandfather was also speechless, and he immediately took out his mobile phone and made a call to Xiao Wen of the Southeast Provincial Public Security Department. "He's good-tempered though, but from the battlefield years, where can you tolerate being bullied like this? This tiger is not powerful, and even the two little policemen dare not take him, the commander of the Southeast Military Region, seriously. He hasn't stepped down yet, and if he does, I don't know what will happen to these people." A swarm of moths. After scolding Xiao Wen of the Southeast Provincial Public Security Department, he followed his grandfather and ordered that once outsiders enter his house in the future, they must be strictly checked. The police are also not allowed to let go of anything, and they must not be allowed to enter with guns again. Today's incident is a wake-up call for him. This is equivalent to a loophole. If these two boys have bad intentions today, then it is very likely that something bad will happen. And Mr. Wen of the Public Security Department was also directly scolded after getting Han Fei's grandfather's call. That was all kinds of careful compensation, and at the same time, his face was also very ugly, and he couldn't wait to shoot those two such bold boys immediately. Commander of the Southeastern Military District. This is his old chief. Even he didn't dare to go to the military compound to be presumptuous, but the two boys who didn't know the height of the sky and the height of the earth went. They really thought that if they put on a police uniform, they would be able to become lawless. After his grandfather scolded Mr. Wen at the police station, Han Fei suddenly said publicly, "Grandpa, I want to personally interrogate those two boys again. I think things may be more than that." "Okay." Grandpa nodded. With his grandfather like this, Han Fei immediately went to the place where the two police stations were held. Then the two were interrogated very cruelly, and the guards who were originally in charge of the interrogation were shocked. Under this kind of interrogation, Han Fei had some different information. Although the interrogation was not the same as the guard's initial interrogation, he also interrogated a person. A man named Huang Xiaohu. This Huang Xiaohu is the cousin of the descendants of the Huang family who was beaten by Han Fei 3 years ago. In addition to wanting to arrest Han Fei, these two guards also wanted to curry favor with the Huang family. After getting such an answer, Han Fei really didn't know whether to be speechless and the idiots of the two policemen, or some other reaction. Even the people of the Huang family didn't dare to harm him so head-on, but the person who wanted to tie up the Huang family did so. So, Han Fei asked the guards to beat the two guys again. When Mr. Wen of the Southeast Provincial Public Security Department came to compensate in person, and by the way, when he took away the two policemen had already been disabled. However, although he was disabled, Mr. Wen did not express any opinions. Draw a gun in the home of the commander of the Southeastern Military District. It can be said that if Han Fei and the others wanted to, they would not have the slightest problem killing them on the spot. With this episode, Han Fei continued to be busy with the affairs of the Sakura group. With the effect of the universal longevity pill, Han Fei is now very enthusiastic about completing the system tasks. After all, as long as the task is completed on a large scale, the authority can be increased, and once the authority is increased, you can buy something like the universal longevity pill. Although the Sakura group is very secretive and does not seem to have any loopholes, with the information provided by Agawa Saburo and Han Fei's meticulous investigation, some useful information was quickly obtained through the investigation. Agawa Jizaburo and others often take tasks online or on their mobile phones. Once there is a task, either someone suddenly sends them an email with a small number, or directly makes a vest communication number to add them, leaving them with some specious garbled characters. Then get the task from the garbled characters. Han Fei's mother is a super hacker, and in addition to being a mercenary in Han Fei's previous life, he was also a hacker, although he is not as good as his mother, but his level is not bad. Therefore, he used the mobile phone of Agawa Zaburo to accept the task, as well as the communication account, to carry out anti-surveillance, inquiry, etc., and it took more than half a month to finally find clues. I touched Agawa Nizaburo's superior connector. When he learned such information, Han Fei prepared directly. According to the supervision and various screenings, Han Fei determined the specific location of the other party, Nanjing. This person is still in Nanjing, and it was at this time that Han Fei received a call again. This call was made to him by Xu Tianlong. He called Han Fei this time to tell Han Fei that they were in the Red Blood Cell group and were going to train at the Warrior Academy next. After getting this call, Han Fei's brows subconsciously furrowed. Because there is no problem, the Red Blood Cell team will inevitably be sad when they go to the Warrior Academy this time. And just when he got the call, the system actually gave him a system task again. Let him go to the Warrior Academy to kill the squad belonging to the Scorpion, and rescue Wang Qingshan and Cha-Chai. Completing the mission rewards a personal competitive training session. After getting this task, Han Fei directly chose to accept it. Now he wants to improve the authority of the system, and naturally he doesn't want to let go of the system task. Plus Xu Tianlong will go with him this time. Even if it is for Xu Tianlong, this Warrior Academy has to go. However, although the Warrior Academy had to go, Han Fei was not prepared to rush for a while. I'm still going to see if I can break the Huaxia branch of the Sakura group first. Talked to Xu Tianlong twice, and then asked Xu Tianlong to cheer up when he was training, and then Han Fei hung up the phone. After hanging up the phone, Han Fei went to a villa that night. This is a very luxurious flower garden villa. When he arrived, he appeared in a bedroom, where a young man was lying on a large luxurious bed. Huang Xiaohu. This young man is the person behind the scenes who instructed the two inspectors to go to the Southeast Military Region Division to arrest people some time ago. For such a person, Han Fei was never prepared to make him comfortable. I didn't come 2 days ago because I was busy, and now that I have a clue about things, I naturally clean it up. Glancing at Huang Xiaohu on the bed, Han Fei sneered, then walked up and woke Huang Xiaohu up with a slap. Huang Xiaohu was in his sleep and Zhou Gongji, which was suddenly slapped in the face. He was immediately stunned, screamed in pain, and then opened his eyes, and as he opened his eyes, his pupils shrank. Who are you? What are you going to do? Get out of here quickly, or I'll call the police. Huang Xiaohu said to Han Fei in a fierce voice. Call the police. Han Fei sneered. Why did you just let people run to the Southeast Military Region to disgust me, so you don't know who I am? I don't even know what you're talking about. Get out of here quickly, or I'll really call the police. Huang Xiaohu's face changed, and then he reached out and touched under his pillow, looking like he was about to touch out his mobile phone. However, in the next second, a pistol appeared in his hand, aiming at Han Fei at once. There is a gun under the pillow at all times. How afraid are you of death? Han Fei looked at Huang Xiaohu in surprise. Get down on my knees. Huang Xiaohu had a pistol in his hand. His face suddenly became hideous, and he said to Han Fei with a sneer. Idiot. Han Fei skimmed disdainfully, then his body moved suddenly, appearing beside Huang Xiaohu at an extremely fast speed, snatching the gun in his hand in an instant, and twisting Huang Xiaohu's arm with force, twisted his arm. Ah! Scream, keep screaming, shout loudly to let others know that I am torturing you, and maybe someone will come to save you in the middle of the night. But, alas, what do you say you don't do so well? Han Fei said to Huang Xiaohu with a smile. What the hell are you going to do? I don't know you at all. Huang Xiaohu endured the pain and said to Han Fei in horror. Will you still pretend to be stupid when you get here? Han Fei shook it disdainfully, and then saw the pistol he held in his hand spinning slightly, and the muzzle of the gun was instantly aimed at Huang Xiaohu. As the muzzle of the gun was so aimed at Huang Xiaohu's pupils contracted violently, and he was directly frightened stupid, and his body trembled and trembled obviously. Han Fei, you dare, you dare. I am a member of the Huang family. If you kill me, even if you are the prince of the Han family, you will definitely be investigated. Huang Xiaohu's body trembled, and while shaking, he yelled at Han Fei with a fierce voice. Don't you pretend now, didn't you look like you didn't know me just now? Han Fei said. Okay. I don't bother to talk nonsense with you, since you dare to calculate me, then naturally you have to be prepared to be cleaned up by me. Han Fei shook his head, and then, when he went up, he knocked Huang Xiaohu unconscious, and then unloaded his hands and feet with heavy hands, so that he could only use a wheelchair in the future, and then used a sheet to tie Huang Xiaohu's legs and tie him up, and hung him on the balcony with the suspension of his head and feet, and after doing such a thing, Han Fei left the villa. As for whether Huang Xiaohu would be discovered by others, or if there was a problem with the quality of the quilt, causing Huang Xiaohu to fall from the balcony or something, it was not within Han Fei's consideration. In addition, whether it is illegal or not to do so is no longer within the scope of Han Fei's consideration. Now he is the squadron leader of the 7 Killings group, and he has a license to kill, and the main reason why he came to find Huang Xiaohu is that Huang Xiaohu himself is looking for death. It's okay to bewitch 2 idiot policemen to go to the Southeast Military Region to shoot at the commander of the Southeast Military Region. If Han Fei doesn't do anything like this, doesn't it seem that the people of their Han family are too easy to bully? As for such a thing, what will happen if the Huang family finds out? Han Fei was very sure that even if the Huang family knew, they would never dare to take one more fart. Because, after Han Fei finished doing these things, he called his grandfather and told him about the situation. After Grandpa Han Fei knew about such a thing, he didn't say that Han Fei did something wrong. The next day, when the Huang family learned of such a thing, they were furious and wanted to pursue such a thing as soon as possible. 3 years ago, Han Fei beat the people of their Huang family, and 3 years later, he actually beat the people of their Huang family again. What is this to do? But when Han Fei's grandfather let people warn the head of the Huang family died down. After all, it was indeed Huang Xiaohu who went to find trouble first. However, although the Huang family died down, they were not ready to just forget it, but were ready to wait for Han Fei's grandfather to step down before making trouble. But where did the Huang family know that Han Fei's grandfather was in very good health now, and it was impossible for him to leave office due to illness? Han Fei didn't pay attention to such a game, and after he taught Huang Xiaohu a lesson, he appeared in a rental house in Nanjing the next day. After coming here, Han Fei's eyes moved, and then he dived towards the rental room. As soon as he arrived, he turned on the radar scanning system, and according to the improvement of the radar scanning system, there was a red target in one of the rental houses at this time. The radar scanning system will automatically identify hostile relationships. Since this person is a red target, it naturally shows that Han Fei is not looking for the wrong person. It was indeed the same place he had speculated, where the members of the Sakura group were staying. Tut tut. Another idiot Sheena pig has surrendered to the feet of my great Japanese empire. After Han Fei quietly climbed up to the window of the room displayed by the red target of the rental room, at this time, in the room, a short and fat middle-aged man with glasses and a big belly was looking at the information displayed by the computer in front of him with disdain, sneering and full of mockery. Really? The sound that seemed to come to the netherworld suddenly came into the ears of the young man in short and fat glasses, and at the same time that these sounds came into the ears of the young man in short and fat glasses, Han Fei's figure moved, and he suddenly broke through the window and entered the room. Who are you? Seeing this, the short and fat young man was instantly shocked, and at the same time, he saw his right hand quickly press towards a certain key on the keyboard. Huh! Without waiting for the young man to hold down the keys on the keyboard, a tactical dagger quickly flew towards the short and fat young man's hand, and stuck his hand on the table. At the same time as the short and fat young man's hand was inserted on the table, Han Fei's figure quickly rushed towards the short and fat young man, and then carried the short and fat young man from his position and threw it to the wall not far away, letting out a bang sound. At the same time, Han Fei followed the fat man like a shadow, and quickly knocked the fat man unconscious. After knocking the fat man unconscious, Han Fei then used heavy techniques to remove all the joints of the fat man, and then removed the venom from the opponent's teeth or something. After doing such a thing, Han Fei ignored the fat man for the time being, and instead walked towards the computer. Then I watched the information displayed by the computer. I saw that on the computer, there would be a garbled email. Han Fei took a look at the garbled email, and then obtained the information he wanted from it, and the garbled email displayed intelligence information. Hint. Today, I succeeded in rebelling against another official. Seeing this situation, Han Fei's brows furrowed subconsciously, and then he controlled the computer and checked the other situations on the computer. As a result, according to the examination, he found that there was no other abnormality at all except for this piece of information on the computer. The computer was very clean, nothing else unusual, just an ordinary otaku computer. There are a lot of 18 forbidden strategy games on it. What kind of edge is empty? In addition to this, there are some romance action movies. Many of them are boutiques. For such a situation, Han Fei did not have too many surprises. As an intelligence officer, it is normal to no longer leave traces on his computer, so to speak. If Han Fei hadn't come here, he happened to see the fat man reading the email, and the fat man would have deleted the email as soon as he saw me, so that people didn't know that the fat man had a problem. In addition, if it weren't for Han Fei's problem with the fat man in advance, ordinary people would not have felt that there was anything wrong with seeing such a garbled email. It's just an email, but it's enough. Han Fei sneered, and then programmed on the computer. He wanted to use the outbox to lock the other party's existence. His hand was tapping on the keyboard very quickly. After the operation, Han Fei found that the other party's email was sent after processing, and it was not a real IP, so he followed the vine, crossed the fake IP, quickly tracked down, and crossed several broilers one after another, and finally locked an IP address. The location displayed by the IP address made Han Fei's brows furrow subconsciously. Southeast Provincial Public Security Department. This IP address is actually the Southeast Provincial Public Security Department. Damn little devil, the penetration ability is really strong. A cold glint flashed in Han Fei's eyes, then he cleared up the tracking data, and then walked towards the short and fat young man on the ground. As soon as he went up, he stuffed a towel into the fat man's mouth, and then woke it up, and when the fat man woke up, Han Fei didn't ask the fat man anything, so he directly beat the fat man, and after beating him violently, he took out a tactical dagger and tortured the fat man, so that the fat man knew what Ling Kai was. Slice the fat man's fat piece by piece. As Han Fei was like this, the fat man's body suddenly trembled one after another, and he kept struggling, wanting to shout in his mouth, but because his mouth was gagged, he could only make a whining sound. Under Han Fei's torture, the fat man peed directly. The eyes that looked at Han Fei were full of fear, and the spirit of great Japanese imperialism was completely abandoned by him at this moment. Since he came to the Celestial Empire, he has seen many so-called tough guys and ruthless people in the Celestial Empire. But I've never seen it so ruthless. As soon as he came up, he didn't ask anything about it, and he was tortured in such a horrible way. Is this still the Celestial Empire, which is known for its humility? Is this still the Celestial Empire that captures prisoners of war and will always be treated preferentially? And Han Fei was completely indifferent to the fat man's scare, and faithfully executed 1,000 cuts, and in less than a minute, the fat man was directly stunned. But as soon as the fat man fainted, Han Fei immediately woke him up again, making the fat man watch him continue to suffer. Han Fei didn't have a good impression of this kind of little Japan at all. If it weren't for the fact that this place was a rental house, at this time, he would not have blocked the fat man's mouth with a towel, but would have made the fat man scream. Han Fei loved to listen to this little Japanese scream of fear. When he was a mercenary in his previous life, many people were caught by him and tortured to death by him. What kind of humane spirit, to Han Fei, is simply bullshit. When little Japan caught the Celestial Empire, it would abuse all kinds of abuse, all kinds of biochemical experiments. Why should the Celestial Empire people give preferential treatment if they catch little Japan? Blood for blood, tooth for tooth. To treat such beasts must be more ruthless than them. Under Han Fei's methods, the fat man fainted one after another, and in just 10 minutes, the fat man seemed to have passed centuries. When Han Fei took off the fat man's mouth and chin and signaled the fat man not to scream, the fat man didn't dare to scream at all, and he was extremely frightened against Han Fei and kept begging for mercy. Once you can behave more ruthlessly and stronger than him, their slavery and sex will be exposed, and they will kneel and lick. Seeing the short and fat man like this, Han Fei pursed his lips disdainfully, without the slightest surprise, because he had seen many such situations in his previous life. Then he started asking about the fat man about the Sakura group. Under Han Fei's inquiry, the fat man didn't dare to hide anything in the slightest, and told Han Fei everything he knew.